questions, but he seems to be the man to defend what he's been doing.
Oh, no question about that. Is anyone else hungry after that last segment?
I'm so hungry now.
I am motivated to get out to that diner,
I know.
to the deli, I should say, and have one of those subs.
Roger, he is a great character. Amazing what he's doing with social media. You know, if he's
Your watchdog of liberty in the nation's capital. Washington Watch with Tony Perkins. Weeknights on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove. Encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you, and happy Friday. Almost. And we got Paulina with me today.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, and happy Friday. A lot going on in the news. There always is. And how you doing?
Good.
Happy almost Friday?
Eve.
Friday Eve, yeah.
Thursday. I love Thursdays.
Yeah, Friday Eve.
You can smell the weekend.
Yeah, it smells good. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. Wow. And we'll get to that. It was an interesting day yesterday at the Senate. A little bit of a shootout at the OK Corral.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and then today is also 6 months from Christmas. So Christmas is in 6 months. So if you're one of those people who are counting down to that, you can begin today. June 25th is actually called National Leon Day. And I didn't know what that means. Did you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I don't feel that bad then. Although I do like to learn things. And Leon spells backwards
Noel.
Yeah. And so the day has become an unofficial milestone for holiday crafters who begin to prepare for Christmas. So if you want to me, it's kind of a sad day because now we're going downhill from longer days,
Shorter
nights. And I love summer. I love light.
Well, we had a story yesterday that the Oregon climatologists came out with a report that we're heading into a super El Nino, which means sometime around August it starts to take effect. And we've only seen 3 of these since 1980, which they're predicting will be heavy rain and snow this winter.
Wow.
Okay, so right now we're in a La Nina that's underperforming its normal pattern, which we should have had more rain and spring showers and all that. So because the La Nina is underperforming, and with all that's going on around the equator and all that stuff, it's producing the conditions for a super El Nino starting in August.
And that's good, right, for water levels?
Well, we need it. Yeah,
production.
we need it. We need water and snowpack, and we need to fill the rivers and the lakes back up and all that. But look like this could be what they call a super one, which, like you said, we've only seen 3 since 1980. So we'll see.
But when you have a super one, is it just really heavy winter, or you actually from August on we're going to see more rain? Cold weather.
I don't know that. I think what happens is, from what I understand, is that the conditions to produce the super El Nino starts in August and develops the weather patterns for the winter, for the fall and the winter. So we'll see. But you know, right now we're high and dry. It's very dry. In fact, a lot of counties have been declared a drought emergency by the governor. And so far, thank the good Lord, no major fires. We've had a few little ones, but no major fires. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get through this season.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's see what else I want to. National Strawberry, how do you say that? Parfait. Parfait Day. National Strawberry Parfait Day celebrates one of summer's sweetest treats during peak strawberry season. The word parfait is French for perfect. I didn't know that. And the traditional dessert features layers of ice cream or frozen custard, fruit, and whipped cream, served in a tall glass.
Okay, so that one has granola mixed in with it.
Yes, and actually that is one of the things you can do. Yogurt, granola, fresh strawberries, they have all become favorite, not just alternatives, but additions. Just pile it all up and enjoy. It looks good, right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Especially here, we have so many wonderful farms that produce fresh strawberries.
Big ones too.
Yeah. And then let's end it with a handshake. Today's the National Handshake Day. It's last Thursday in June and celebrates one of the oldest forms of greetings and mutual respect. Historians believe handshakes date back to ancient Greece, where artwork from the 5th century BC depicts people greeting one another by clasping hands and shaking them.
Okay.
I love that tradition. Hello. People say I have a good handshake.
You do.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I will say a thing, though. Men need to learn how to shake hands.
Oh, so you don't get a little wobbly thing?
Oh, it's like, you know, squeezing a dish rag. Come on, give it a good.
But I love that. I don't know what about it when guys get together and they shake hands versus doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, good. Well, good stuff.
hands.
All right, you see those clouds over our shoulders there?
Yes.
More of them coming this way. Let's check out the weather.
Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 70s through Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with lows tonight falling back into the 50s. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy conditions continue through the valleys. Salem tops out near 78. Albany and Corvallis both settle into the upper 70s, and Eugene sees 79 with a calm west wind. Increasing clouds in central Oregon, with Prineville reaching the low 80s. Mostly cloudy in Bend and Sun River, while Boise stays warmer with a slight chance of thunderstorms than sunny skies near 92. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog gives way to mostly cloudy skies in Coos Bay and Brookings, with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Port Orford sees 63 and Crescent City 62, with cloud covers throughout the day. In southern Oregon, partly sunny skies for the Rogue Valley, with Grants Pass and Medford approaching 90 degrees. Ashland tops out near 84, and increasing clouds develop in Klamath Falls, with highs in the low 80s. Northern California heats up with mostly sunny skies. Wairika reaches 88, while Redding climbs to 96 and Chico 93. Fort Bragg sees mostly sunny skies and highs near 60. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog clears to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa, with highs near 80. Decreasing clouds in 63 in San Francisco, while San Jose stays sunny with highs near 80. For Central California, sunny conditions continue with highs near 89 in Sacramento, Stockton and Modesto. Fresno and Visalia reach 97 in Bakersfield near 98, with lows tonight mainly in the 60s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op. Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange.
Okay, there we go. There's a look of our backyard this morning, and you can see the clouds kind of coming our way. That brings that change in the weather and cooler temperatures. That's looking directly west, so kind of hot and dry. Be careful out there.
Do you miss flying?
Oh, gosh. It's amazing you'd say that. I was lamenting last night. I still get a lot of flying publications, you know. And so I was kind of getting caught up in some of that stuff and reading, and I just told Peggy, I said, I miss flying, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to do it the way I was doing it, where I was in an airplane 4 and 5 hours a day, but just to get up and buzz around a little bit, you know. I'm always mooching rides out here. You know.
Any luck?
Well, yeah, once in a while I score, but you know, there's a couple of planes I'd still like to fly. You know, I'd still like to fly. There's a Kodiak right next door here, 2 hangars down from here, and I told the guy, I said, that's my bucket list airplane to fly.
How come? What's about it that you want?
It's everything about that airplane is just, I think it's just a great airplane because, well, I used to fly a twin, and there's no really reason for a guy to fly a piston twin anymore, because you can fly a single-engine turbine by far much more efficiently and less operating costs. But this one was designed by missionaries for missionary work. And in that, they had created really an ideal airplane, in my opinion. It's not a jet, it's a turbine. And it's for short, it's like flying a SUV. You can put things in and go somewhere.
I was going to say, it being created for missions probably has enough room for boxes and supplies.
People. It can carry up to 10 people, I think. Or you can take all the seats out. You can put SUV. You can put bikes, motorcycles in there. You can put supplies in there. It's really just a great airplane. Not only that, it's just a nice airplane. But because it's under 12,000 pounds, I come to find out I don't need a type rating. I just need a checkout. So I'm mooshing.
So you can pretty much with your, you don't, when you get licensed, you just get licensed for certain types, underweight.
Well, what you checked out, yeah. So I'm up for what they call a BFR, a biannual flight review, which I have to do, and I'm going to do it here shortly, which means you go up with an instructor and you get checked out. And at my age, I probably, I need to do that. I still want to get a medical, and I still want to get a BFR as long as I can. And I'm pushing the envelope.
Well, keep pushing.
Okay.
Well, the world offers us a lot of advice, but where do we find true wisdom? Dr. David Jeremiah reminds us that God has it, and it's through the Holy Spirit where we get it.
I've often said that someone with no formal education, someone who knows Jesus and reads their Bible, has more lasting wisdom than a brilliant scholar with a PhD. You know, there are some people that have so many degrees they have no temperature. Did you know that? They don't have the Spirit. The wisdom of the believer will carry them further than the knowledge of the unbeliever. I know some little old ladies like that, some people who've lived in the Word of God their whole life. I would trust them with my question about the spiritual things of this world far more than I would trust them with somebody with a PhD from a secular university, because one is from God and the other is from the world. So if you want the wisdom of the world, you don't need the Holy Spirit. You can get that wisdom anywhere you want, any of the state institutions, universities and colleges, correspondence schools. They'll be more than happy to relieve you of your time and your money. But if you want the wisdom of God, you have to have the illuminating ministry of the Holy Spirit.
Plain when you...
Yeah, okay, well, excuse me. Good stuff all the way around. And
We're talking about planes.
And wisdom. Yeah, well, and planes.
Yeah, we're talking about planes and
wisdom and flying. All right. All right, good stuff. Let's take a look at some of the top stories on our Thursday morning. And, well, the president's still trying to push for the proof of citizenship requirement. And he was trying to do that with executive order. Well, yesterday, President Obama appointed judge struck the president's executive order down and said it was unconstitutional. You kind of wonder, when you hear the term unconstitutional, is it just kind of arbitrary? Because they don't tell you how it's unconstitutional. They just said it's unconstitutional. So through executive order, the president was trying to do proof of American citizenship requirement, and this judge struck that down. So in the meantime, yesterday there was quite the shootout at the OK Corral in the U.S. Senate, and it kind of got this thing tied up into it because they were trying to pass a couple of things. They were looking at this affordable house care thing that the president said and all of his advisors said he was going to sign. At the last minute, he said no, he wasn't going to sign it because of the shadows of what this judge done. And the Senate is not pushing through the SAFE Act, and he's really upset with Senator Thune over the SAFE Act and 4 other senators. And in the meantime, they tried to put it in the War Powers Act. The War Powers Act would have limited the president on what he can do in the middle of what's going on in Iran. So he goes to the Hill. Oh, my stars.
You have a clip?
Well, I got an after clip, but let me just kind of set this up for you. He goes to the Hill yesterday to talk to the senators there, and I guess he and a couple of senators really get into it verbally. Now, this is behind closed doors, and he and Senator Cassidy get into it. And Senator Cassidy was really pushing him about the war and what's going on and give us more information. And he was really on the president. And there was about 4 other Republican senators that was kind of joining in. Well, the president exploded and turned around and really blasted these guys and say, you are going to ruin the peace deal and the negotiations by doing this to me. By limiting me, you're sending a signal to Iran that we are weak and we're done, and they win. And he made that case very forcefully in this meeting, okay? Well, first of all, let me play this clip from Senator Cassidy about how he explains. It's a little short clip. He does talk about what actually happened in the Senate closed-door meeting. Then we'll come back and I'll tell you how it turned out.
The president was wondering why people would vote for the War Powers Act. I asked him if that would be a rhetorical question or a real question. He said real. And so as we begin to speak, the president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people. And so, so it escalated from there. At some point, it de-escalated.
Okay. So what happened was this. They had this big ceremony set up over at the Capitol for him to sign the affordable, you know, and there it sits.
And then, like, I think an hour before, it was canceled.
It was canceled. And he decided, no, I'm not going to do this. You guys, if you don't produce the SAFE Act, number one, and number two, you're going to put the War Powers Act on top of me to tie my hands in negotiating this deal. You just sent a message to Iran, the war's over, you won. And he made that so forcefully that Cassidy changed his vote, and guess who else did? It's a real shock.
McConnell?
No, Rand Paul.
Really?
Rand Paul changed his vote yesterday, and the thing failed, so therefore the War Powers Act doesn't go forward. Of all guys, Rand Paul is anti anything that has to do with military action, but I think he saw the point is that if they come out of this meeting and the president's hand is tied as to what he can do to finish this negotiation, you just told Iran you won, and you guys didn't fire a shot, we fired all the shots, and they win. So anyway, the point was well taken, and two of those senators turned around, and the War Powers Act failed.
But the ruling of the judge kind of coincided with President Trump saying that you now guys have to do it, because, you know, when you go back and look at the ruling, she didn't rule that there shouldn't be proof of citizen, that non-citizens should vote. She just, from what I understand, she ruled that the president should not be unilaterally deciding that, and that it's up to Congress.
Right.
Now, constitutionally, you know, technically there is nothing in the Constitution, the way I read it, that says you have to have proof of citizenship. So that's where the debate is. How do we prove it? There is a federal law that a citizen can only citizens can vote, but how do you prove it? And some states have those IDs, some states don't. Obviously, the the opponents say, well, that will eliminate a lot of people from voting because they don't have documents to prove their citizenship.
Yeah,
and
which is kind of a crazy argument.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. Well, then why don't you create a free way for people to get those documents?
Well, there you go.
Common sense.
It is common sense. But all this came together yesterday. So he took the one bill that it was a bipartisan bill, and everybody was ready to be there to cheer this on. We're bipartisan. We're getting something through, the Affordable Housing Act. And he doesn't show up to sign it an hour before. Goes to the Senate, has this blow up in the Senate, wins that argument, and still put pressures on Thune, because according to what the judge did over here, and what you just explained. So how do you solve that problem? The Senate has to pass the SAVE Act. All four of those things came together yesterday.
Yeah.
It was pretty remarkable.
Interesting to see what happens with the SAVE Act, because I believe it was 3 Republicans that voted with Democrats last time against the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
So we'll see if any kind of change of vote will happen this time.
Well, you got to ask the question, is Thune really in charge of the Senate? The president really said to him yesterday, be a leader and get the votes. Well, I'm sure that didn't go over well with Senator Thune, but at the end of the day, taking all the emotions out of it, that's the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Come on, do your job, get it done. And why Thune cannot get these votes on the Safe America Act, of all things, 85% of Americans want this. And you've got 3 Republicans holding out and saying, no, the American people don't want. You know, it's like him walking through the halls casting, well, I'm just here to vote for the American people. Oh, come on. We're tired of being used as pawns. Do the right thing, you know. So, all right, so much for all that nonsense. Kind of, sort of. Well, it's important nonsense. All right, here's the big deal. We thought the big cage fight was the beginning of the 250.
It wasn't?
No. Last night, the big National Mall rally is supposedly the launch of the 250th birthday celebrations between now and the 4th of July. And the president was on the mall, and he gives a very much pro-America speech, and here's a little bit of it.
And 10 days from now, our country will celebrate one of the most monumental milestones in human history. We will mark 250 years of glorious American freedom. In 1776, our founding fathers met in Philadelphia and changed the world forever and ever with a thing called the Declaration of Independence. We all made, and you know that, free and equal by the hand of Almighty God. There has never been anything like the United States of America, and together we are making it bigger and better and stronger and far more exceptional than ever before.
And then, of course, the big flyover. And apparently that kind of launched the thing. Do you know if they got the reflecting pool cleaned up?
And I know they were working on it a couple of days ago.
Yeah, they had to empty it again and fill it up again, and that was vandalized. Anyway, so he's put it all together. So this is the official launch, and so between now and the 4th of July, things are going to get pretty happy all over the place.
Yeah, and I mean, so wonderful to see Washington, D.C. being so beautiful and clean, and people just strolling around and enjoying
It is. It
life,
really is.
and as if, I mean, that's what it should be. I don't
Yes.
think anyone is complaining, although some people do protest in form
Have you
of
ever been there?
vandalism. Yeah.
You have? Have you been there during cherry blossom?
I was there around that. I was there on the school trip, and it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in if you've never been
I would
there.
love to go now when I'm in a different state of mind and just also just take
And a
time
citizen.
to enjoy. Yes, just enjoy it. Like you said, cherry blossoms. Back then, it was from one museum to the next to this. And
no, if you can go and not be a part of a group, just do it on your own, and go to the places you really want to spend time at. It's well worth it.
Do you have a favorite place there?
Well, gosh, there's a lot. I mean, of course, I like the Air and Space Museum, but I like going to the Capitol, and down below is the original Supreme Court, which is below the Rotunda area. That's where the original Supreme Court is, and they left it there. Some of the museums, the Smithsonian museums of past administrations and the pieces of history, is amazing. But one of the most stunning ones you will go to, I think, are 2, 3, 4, is go look for the Vietnam Memorial there. And if you don't know where it is, you won't find it. And this one here in Medford is a replica of the one in Washington, D.C., set up kind of like when you look at the backside of this one here, you don't see it. When you go to Washington, D.C. on the mall, if you don't know where the Vietnam Memorial is, you won't see it because it goes down in the ground. And it's level with the ground, but it goes down, and all of a sudden you come upon it and you go down and you're just kind of like, oh, you're stunned, okay? And then the other one is you got to go to the Jefferson Memorial. And the Jefferson Memorial, just go read the plaques inside Jefferson Memorial, and then read what's written around the rotunda, in the rotunda area. He's got some of his speeches up there. There was a lot of complaints about Jefferson, that he was a deist and he really wasn't a Christian and all this and that. Go read those things and see what he really believed in. And then I think you have to go to the iconic Lincoln Memorial, where so much is done on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial through U.S. history, you know. But when you're standing at the front of the Lincoln Memorial, just get out by the reflecting pond and look back at it, and just look around. Right at the top, you'll see all the states. But right in the middle is Oregon. So take a look at it. So, all right, so much for all that. Where do we go?
Tour of D.C. with Perry Atkinson.
No, go. All right, we'll take a quick strawberry parfait break. Oh, we'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. A couple of quick things. Our own U.S. Congressman Cliff Bentz was in Washington. Of course, that's where he should be. And he was before the Natural Resource Committee advancing the Great American Outdoor Act, the GAOA, which basically is taking federal lands and letting more people have access to it. And he argued in favor of that. And here's a little bit of what he had to say about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this bill, which I strongly support. In my district, back in Oregon, there are 15.7 million acres of BLM land. And that land is included in the definition of asset. The improvement to the land or the maintenance of the land includes invasive species. Much of this land has been, unfortunately, invaded by different types of weeds, and it would be my hope that some of the 5% of this funding goes to helping address that incredibly important issue. I also want to mention that the bill contains a prohibition against acquisition of land or any interest in land, and that's extremely important to me, and I'm very happy for its inclusion in this bill. Mr. Chair, I think this is, as I mentioned when I was joining you and other members of the committee down in Arkansas a week or so ago, the importance of our national parks and other federal lands for the rejuvenation of visitors and their mental attitudes and the education of the importance of the beauty of these places. Why? Because the source of the funding is a diminishing resource, that is the royalties from oil and gas, and we should be investing, as we are, in the types of things that this bill focuses upon. I strongly support this bill and urge everyone else to support it also. Yield back.
Okay, so there's a lot in this. You'd have to read it. It's a little laborious. Being the representative from that district, where you have 30 of the 36 counties in the state of Oregon, which is basically landmass and BLM and government-owned land out there, is amazing. And then they want to do monuments and shut down this and that. All those arguments come into play. The bottom line is it's also shut people out. And we're not managing them correctly. We should do more grazing of animals and things like that so that we have control of the weeds, we have control of the fire. But moreover, should the citizens be shut out? And the answer is no. You can still use those lands, and yes, you ought to be cautious about it, but they've completely been shut out and then not managed. So it's kind of a dueling problem. All right, one last little thing for us this morning, and that is yesterday I made a boo-boo.
You did?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah. So I needed.
First time in your life?
Second.
Oh, wow. Been gone for a while.
I need to Father Sarah. I need to go to confession. Here's the problem. But it's today. Today is the day that the Medford Chamber leadership will celebrate the completion of the tiny home at Joy Community. So the Chamber has built one of those homes down there. It's right down the street here.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have a little celebration of the home that they built to help seniors, homeless seniors, to have a home. And that'll be there at Joy Community from 4:30 to 5 this afternoon. If you're in the local area, let me encourage you to go do that. And let me just say hats off to Chad McComas, the gentleman behind all of this, obeying the call of the Lord to create a village for homeless seniors. And it's hugely successful, so God bless them all. All right, take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on with the weather. We have a change coming. There it is. See it offshore? Here it comes. And we are
the
going...
blue stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're going to see some clouds develop, and we could have rain by late tonight or tomorrow and in through the weekend, which we will certainly enjoy, and all of that will drop the temperatures as well.
Socialism is the word that we hear in the headlines. New York primary has taken place, and several socialist-backed candidates had won. There is kind of a debate. Do Americans really understand what they're voting for? Are they just going after something shiny but really don't know what's going to come after that? Well, Delaware Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester was on CNBC, and there's a little clip circulating where the anchor asked her, what are the benefits of socialism? Can you give me one example of a country that actually benefited from it? It's a very short clip, but here it is, their exchange.
It might look different in different places across the country, but we do believe that people are concerned about this economy and the cost of things, and so we're going to continue to fight for them. So to me, it's a win-win.
Where has socialism ever worked, Senator?
Is that another question, or is that for the next interview?
That's definitely for you. You said fish doesn't work everywhere. I just want to know one place where socialism has been beneficial.
Well, when you have me come back on, we can talk about all the races across the country.
Ready.
In other words, she could not answer and give an example of one place where this utopian idea of socialism works. And I have a feeling that many Americans would have the same stuttering answer if they were asked.
They should be asked that, because there is no history of socialism being successful, and yet the mentality of the left today is, this is different, we will make it work here. Okay, there's a couple of headlines this morning that says the Democrats are leaning towards socialism. No, let me back that up. It's not right. Are the Democrats becoming socialist? Well, wait a minute, they're already socialist. You see how they're trying, even the media kind of plays into, we're not really there yet. Well, yeah, the Democratic Party is hardcore socialist. No exceptions. What happened in New York is just that the extreme side of the Democratic Party, socialist, are winning. At the shock of the other side that believes in socialism but didn't know that it'd be moving that fast.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can say is that you cannot point anywhere in the world where socialism has worked. But the argument from the left is, this is the United States, it will work here.
Right. Well,
don't buy the lie.
And I would encourage everyone to just go and look up definitions.
Yeah.
And socialism can take different forms especially when it's tied to different political systems.
Yeah.
And I guess their argument could be made that tied with American political system, it would be different. But when you look at socialism, where collectivism and community controls things, there's no private ownership, government is in charge of a lot of things, you start losing a lot of the benefits that America offers, and you don't realize them, but you will, and New Yorkers will.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty.
Nope, it's not. But there's one form of socialism I would vote for every time.
Which one?
That's the one where they give away free things.
Free things?
Like strawberry parfait.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Won't work.
You can see the stars align, but I know that it's more than time. And I believe it goes just happen like that.
Visit fishlikeresorts.net today to learn more and plan your visit.
Okay, where are we here? I got to get, here we are. Hi. A lot going on in the news today. All right, 25 minutes before the hour. We're going to check in with CBN News. This fallout of Starmer in the UK resigning is still kind of interesting. He has resigned, but he hasn't left. He'll stay there until a new prime minister is elected. Will the Labour Party win again, or is this going to be the open door for Farage to come in and take it? What do you think?
Do I think what's going to happen?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm just watching it with my mouth open and just trying to catch up with their politics. Honestly, don't understand it as much, but it would be interesting if Farage can come back. That would be a change.
Yeah. All right. So the Labour Party has had 6 prime ministers in 10 years, and they've all gone out the back door. Are they going to do it again? Is the UK going to do this again? There is a guy, Andy Burnham, I guess is the one who's up to be considered. And here's Nigel Farage over here. He's also representing the other side of the spectrum. I don't know. Let's check in with CBN News and find out.
With Keir Starmer resigning, it looks like Andy Burnham will probably be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So, who is he? What does he believe? What does this mean for Britain? Well, Stephen Briggs joins us now. My friend, what can you tell us about him?
Well, Andy Burnham is not a newcomer to British politics. He's a former cabinet minister, and he has served since 2017 as mayor of Greater Manchester, a city of about 3 million people. Running a city of 3 million people is different to running a whole nation, but he recently won a special election for a seat in Parliament with the express aim of challenging Keir Starmer for leadership of both the Labour Party and, by implication, the country as well. So this isn't accidental. Burnham has been positioning himself for national leadership. Britain is in a major moment of political transition. Another one. There's been 7 of them in 10 years. Can you believe there have been 7 leaders? Well, this will be the 7th in the UK. Well, Andy Burnham is moving closer to becoming Britain's next Prime Minister after Cabinet Minister Darren Jones, who had been discussed as a possible rival, said he would not run for the Labour leadership. And that matters because Burnham currently faces no challengers. Former Health Secretary Wes Streeting, who had been considered a main rival, is now backing Andy as well. So unless another Labour figure steps forward in the next week, this could become less of a contest and more of a swift handover of power. And for Christians watching this, the first thing to remember is that leadership is never merely procedural. Scripture tells us in Daniel 2:21, he removes kings and he sets up kings. In other words, political transitions may happen through parties, elections, parliaments, and leadership contests, but ultimately leaders are accountable before God for how they govern. So 7 prime ministers in a decade is an extraordinary level of turnover for modern Britain, reflecting years of political upheaval, party infighting, and challenges in maintaining a consistent national direction. One might say that denotes a not overly healthy democracy, but more of an indication of chronic political instability.
Well, that's the question. Is this going to be just more of the same, right? 7 prime ministers in a decade. That's wild. So, I mean, is this going to be a departure? Is this going to be something that, now things settle down? This is a guy who has his finger on the pulse of what English people and British people actually want and believe? Or is this just more? I mean, it seems like ever since Brexit, things have kind of deteriorated with mass, migration and crime. And everyone talks about, the social media literally policing of the regime, I guess you could say that. It seems, again, from across the pond, that the UK is devolving. So is this a hopeful thing, or is this just more of the same?
Well, I think a lot depends on what takes place next week when he raises and shares his economic aspirations, shall we say. I mean, the timetable is very fast. Labour leadership nominations open on July 9th and they will close a week later. So, and if nobody comes against him in the Labour Party, he could become Prime Minister by as early as July 17th. However, if there is a contest, the winner is expected to be in place by the time Parliament returns from its summer break on September 1st. Now, this speed process is an important question because how do you test vision and policy if there is nobody to challenge it? And so this is huge for us as people watching and observing. And Proverbs 11, verse 14 is very relevant in this situation. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. A nation needs leadership, but it also needs tested leadership. It needs counsel, it needs scrutiny, it needs wisdom and sober judgment, especially when a new prime minister may take office within weeks. So we're in a situation where Britain has had a lot of turmoil politically and by implication across the whole of the nation. I mean, 7 leaders in 10 years is a pretty torrid record when you look at it in comparison to other nations and stability that is brought about. And the other scripture that comes to mind is when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. That's found in Proverbs 29, verse 2. It's not a partisan slogan. It's a standard. It reminds us that character and judgment of leaders have consequences for ordinary people. So, Burnham, he's more left than Starmer, and he needs to be one who reassures markets, trade unions, labor lawmakers, and the public. And those economic plans are going to be outlined next week, and that speech, I'm sure, will be watched very closely. But the key component, as with all leadership, is what does the Lord require of us? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. And at present, the leadership in Britain is not walking humbly with their God. There is an arrogance about it, and we have a problem as a result of that. So for CBN viewers, the bigger picture is this. Britain is one of America's closest allies, a key NATO power, and a country still deeply involved in Ukraine, European defense, and Middle East diplomacy. So this is not just a British domestic story. It matters for Europe, it matters for the United States, and for global stability, which is why we as Christians should pray according to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 to 2, which says that prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving should be made for kings and all those who are in authority. That applies whether we personally support a leader or not. The biblical call is to pray that those in authority would govern wisely, justly, humbly, and with regard for the people they serve. And that is exactly the kind of leader Britain needs right now. Whether Andy Burnham will be that reality, it remains to be seen.
Okay, so there's a couple things to take away here. Will the citizens and other members of Parliament demand open election? Right now, this is a closed election, so you have the Labour Party Prime Minister stepping aside. Therefore, the Labour Party can replace him with who they want. The people have nothing to say about this. Mm-hmm. They probably will go into a general election, I think in October, if I remember correctly. They could call for, so it could be that Burnham ends up being a very short prime minister and gets voted out in October. But the cleanest way to do this, and I think this young man that gave the Bible references here is a brilliant answer that he gave, is that the people should step up and demand an open election right now. Or let Starmer stay there until September when Parliament reconvenes and then set in motion an open election. But this is hardcore politics. It would be like if a member of Congress representing the United States or representing Oregon stepped out, the party of that congressperson would select his replacement or her replacement. If the governor stepped out, the party would do that. So what you're bypassing here is the people. And this is so dangerous. So it doesn't look like, I don't know who Burnham is, but the fact that they're going to leave the people out of the equation, they could be going from the frying pan to the fire.
Do you know when the current, when Starmer's term would have expired?
I think in October.
So he's just pretty much stepping down just a few months before.
He's stepping down for this very reason. So he knows that he's going down as one of the worst ever. Okay, it's a hard thing to say. It's an embarrassing thing to say. But he's going down as a very, very poor prime minister. So you step out now so that your party can still have control. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're doing. It's just politics in the raw. Who's left here? The citizens. They have no say in this. The citizens ought to be just jumping up and down and say, we want open elections. But that's not going to happen.
Wow.
So, all right, let's check out the weather, and here's what's going on.
Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 70s through Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with lows tonight falling back into the 50s. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy conditions continue through the valleys. Salem tops out near 78. Albany and Corvallis both settle into the upper 70s, and Eugene sees 79 with a calm west wind. Increasing clouds in central Oregon with Prineville reaching the low 80s. Mostly cloudy in Bend and Sun River, while Boise stays warmer with a slight chance of thunderstorms than sunny skies near 92. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog gives way to mostly cloudy skies in Coos Bay and Brookings, with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Port Orford sees 63 and Crescent City 62 with cloud covers throughout the day. In southern Oregon, partly sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with Grants Pass and Medford approaching 90 degrees. Ashland tops out near 84 and increasing clouds develop in Klamath Falls with highs in the low 80s. Northern California heats up with mostly sunny skies. Wairika reaches 88 while Redding climbs to 96 and Chico 93. Fort Bragg sees mostly sunny skies and highs near 60. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog clears to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80, decreasing clouds in 63 in San Francisco, while San Jose stays sunny with highs near 80. For Central California, sunny conditions continue with highs near 89 in Sacramento, Stockton and Modesto. Fresno and Visalia reach 97 and Bakersfield near 98 with lows tonight mainly in the 60s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Yes. And here we are hearing from Jerry even when he's not here. But he's keeping track of all the historic moments for today. And on this day in history, the future of air travel took flight.
On June 25, 1919, the first flight of the Junkers F-13 took place. It was the first advanced monoplane and is considered the world's first practical all-metal passenger airliner and helped usher in a new era of commercial aviation. At a time when most airplanes were built from wood and fabric, the German-designed F-13 was revolutionary. Its metal construction made it stronger, more durable, and better suited for carrying passengers. The aircraft had an open cockpit, but could carry 4 passengers in an enclosed cabin, a luxury in an era when flyers still sat exposed to the wind and weather. More than 300 F-13s would eventually be built, serving airlines on several continents and helping prove that commercial air travel could be safe, reliable, and profitable. It remained in production for 13 years and in commercial service for more than 30. So if you've ever flown a modern airliner, you can trace part of its design heritage back to the Junkers F-13, a pioneering aircraft that helped transform flying from an adventure into a means of transportation.
Look at that cute little plane.
Oh, hop on with me. I'll take you for a ride. I remember I took Sue up one time.
I remember.
And she just was frightened to death.
But she went.
She went.
Has Peggy
She was white knuckle. Well,
much?
yeah, Peggy's flown with me a lot, and the boys, you know. And but
Sue went once.
Sue went once. She didn't think she liked it.
Okay.
You want to go?
No, thank you.
See? Why?
Because I'm afraid that I'll have the same reaction as Sue. I'll be frightened.
What's about it that bothers you?
The unnecessary risk of flying.
You don't like flying on airlines?
I love flying on a commercial airline, but I've never been on a private.
Okay.
No offense, but I don't know how safe it is.
Would you try it?
Maybe I can be persuaded with a good strawberry parfait. Maybe. But yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
Sorry.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house.
we chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so it just, everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. history. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Historic leaders. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Nostalgia.
It's a wonderful trip down memory lane with fun and interesting stories you might not know about. Relive the past and learn something new.
Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
Okay, welcome back. 9 minutes before the... You know what's not in the news today?
What?
Iran.
Oh, you're right.
Isn't that amazing?
Didn't have that. Well, it was kind of there with the squabble yesterday, but not front and center.
Not front and center. So in the meantime, I had Megan Barth on yesterday. She's now the executive editor of the California Globe, covers most of the western states. And I asked her, I said, it looks like the president isn't winning with his MOU, his memorandum of understanding. A lot of problems. He just can't quite get it in for a landing. What's her response? And here's what she had to say.
Well, he made a comment yesterday about price gouging by the oil companies, and I think that's a little premature. There have been multiple federal investigations, including a state and federal investigation in California into price gouging, and that simply does not exist. All the investigations have proven that there are no price gouging by big oil. It was kind of surprising that he took on a leftist talking point, but I think this shows his exasperation as well as our exasperation. I just read a headline a couple days ago that the U.S. was the #1 exporter of oil. What about our oil? What about the price per barrel? The price per barrel has dropped down about $19, I think it was, or so in the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. I think we can expect the price of oil per barrel to drop even further. We'd like to see it around $60 or under $60 to get those prices down. But on the West Coast here, specifically Nevada, California, Arizona, we are all impacted by refinery shutdowns that have happened en masse in California. You know, California used to produce from 80 different refineries in the 1980s. They're down to under 7. Nevada and Arizona both get our oil, refined oil from California. 90% of our energy and our oil and our gas comes from California. Well, with these refineries shutting down, obviously it puts it puts pressure on pricing, right? When you don't have supply and you have demand, you get a higher price. So with the Strait of Hormuz opening, I think it's going to take a little bit of patience to get those tankers through. They don't move fast, they move slowly. I think we need to stop blaming big oil companies like the Democrats continually do and really focus on not only getting that strait open, which it is, but if we're the #1 exporter of oil, let's flood our country with oil.
Interesting.
Oil.
All right, Ruthie Bloom will be with me coming up, and she used to be in the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. She now works for the Jewish News Syndicate, so we have a lot to talk about. We'll Skype her in. Is she in Israel? I think she is.
She is, yes. And in fact, they just had a big meeting, and they renamed Jewish Syndicate News to Jerusalem.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they now have a new name. But same organization.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
look forward to talking to her. All right.
And then we have Steve Bonta on the show as well. By the way, do we have time for the skicker? Do you want me to?
Yeah, go.
Okay. Here's a look at an amazing record that took place, and Jerry has that story.
A skateboarder has rolled his way into the record books once again after crossing the United States in just 39 days. Chad Caruso traveled more than 3,000 miles from Venice Beach, California to Jacksonville, Florida, averaging an incredible 72 miles a day on his skateboard. The journey shattered his own Guinness World Record. In 2023, Caruso completed a coast-to-coast skateboarding trip in just over 57 days. But this latest ride was about more than setting records. Caruso says the trek also marked 10 years of sobriety and celebrated the activity that helped turn his life around. Along the way, he raised money for Natural High, a nonprofit that encourages young people to stay active and avoid drugs and alcohol. From the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic, Caruso proved that determination can take you a very long way, more than 3,000 miles in fact.
3,000 miles on a skateboard.
Wow.
Wow.
Seen a lot. That would be a cool trip.
Yeah, I wonder how his hips are from scooting that thing around. I like that. Wow, that's great. All right, well, listen, we've got some cooler weather coming our way. Rain maybe by tomorrow. We'll see how it looks. In the meantime, take with you an interesting scripture, Habakkuk. Say that real fast. Chapter 2, verse 14. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. How? As the waters cover the sea. I wonder if media has something to do with that.
Oh, that's an interesting interpretation.
You know, we're covering a lot of ground with the Dove. There you go. All right, be careful out there. Pretty dry.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges,
I want to talk about the role of a Christian, even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of like an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us. The Dove TV wishes you a happy 4th of July as America celebrates 250 years. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Hey, good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Paulina is here. Always a joy to have you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
We did have a little Jerry sighting yesterday, just to keep people an update. He's doing well.
And the sighting was through pictures. He didn't show up.
Yes, he sent me a picture of his
extremities.
His extremity, yes, we'll put it that way. Look, he's doing very, very well, but he's really gone through a lot, and he has a lot more to go through. Pray for him, but he's doing well. And I'm hoping maybe next week we'll be able to video him in. Mm-hmm. He's kind of up here. He's fine. Down there on his leg, he's just really limited to what he can do. But he's doing well. So thank you for being here this morning.
Of course, yes.
Well, a lot going on in the news. A lot. And you know, we were just mentioning in the last hour. Guess what's not in the news?
Iran. Even CBN News is talking about UK.
Yeah, I went around this morning. When I got done, I go, and this was last night and this morning, coming in early, and I go, gosh, there's nothing there about Iran.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway.
The cycle changes.
Yeah. What have we got?
Well, today we are marking 6 months before Christmas. So today is the National Leon, which is spelled backwards as Noel Day. So if you want to start prepping for Christmas, you may start today. It's officially the
you know what? Don't say that. You'll go to Hobby Lobby and there'll be Christmas decorations.
Oh, yes. I believe it.
Yeah.
I already saw some stores advertising fall clothing. And
yes.
Getting ready for that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you just can't catch up. So that's that. We have National Strawberry Parfait Day today, which is a dessert that takes its name from the French word parfait, meaning perfect. Traditional dessert featuring layers of ice cream or frozen custard, yogurt, fruit, whipped cream, strawberries, because today is the strawberry one. So enjoy it. I think it's a perfect
breakfast.
Perfect. I was going to say summer dessert, but right, you add granola.
Add granola to it, yeah.
Makes it breakfast, yes. And then it is National Handshake Day, so make sure you shake hands today when you meet people. I think it's a beautiful tradition. It's a great gesture, and I think it's just, I love it. Nice to meet you. And make sure you actually shake the hand.
Yes.
Not give the wobbly fish thingy.
Gosh, you know, I've stopped men sometimes when I shake them. And I say, come on, shake the hand. Oh.
Well, President Trump is known for pulling your arm out when he shakes the hand.
Yeah, that's a power thing.
Yeah.
That's a power. You know what he does? He reaches out, he grabs you, he does this. He pulls you forward and then he does this.
Okay.
So that's double control.
Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah. So if you have, you know, we don't, you used to have them a lot, we don't anymore. We had these people that were doing body language analysis on the news.
Yeah.
They stopped using those people, but there's some science to it that really is true. You know, so he's a power guy.
Well, be the power guy today.
All right, let's check in with the weather because it's changing. Let's take a look.
Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 70s through Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with lows tonight falling back into the 50s. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy conditions continue through the valleys. Salem tops out near 78. Albany and Corvallis will settle into the upper 70s, and Eugene sees 79 with a calm west wind. Increasing clouds in central Oregon with Prineville reaching the low 80s. Mostly cloudy in Bend and Sun River, while Boise stays warmer with a slight chance of thunderstorms than sunny skies near 92. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog gives way to mostly cloudy skies in Coos Bay and Brookings, with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Port Orford sees 63 and Crescent City 62 with cloud covers throughout the day. In southern Oregon, partly sunny skies for the Rogue Valley with Grants Pass and Medford approaching 90 degrees. Ashland tops out near 84 and increasing clouds develop in Klamath Falls with highs in the low 80s. Northern California heats up with mostly sunny skies. Wairika reaches 88 while Redding climbs to 96 and Chico 93. Fort Bragg sees mostly sunny skies and highs near 60. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog clears to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80, decreasing clouds in 63 in San Francisco, while San Jose stays sunny with highs near 80. For Central California, sunny conditions continue with highs near 89 in Sacramento, Stockton and Modesto. Fresno and Visalia reach 97 and Bakersfield near 98 with lows tonight mainly in the 60s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, well, look at that. That is a direct shot to the south. If you go a little bit to the left, you'll see Ashland, or if you look around that little point out there, that would be Jacksonville.
I love
and
that.
down below there, that's Talent, Phoenix. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, we have so many beautiful towns.
We do. This is our backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you read the Bible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Didn't expect
do.
a
I read
different
it
answer.
enough? No.
Oh no, who does? Well, maybe a pastor or someone who really takes
I read it
seriously.
differently today than I did earlier in my life.
In the way you read it, or well, understanding is obviously different.
Yeah.
You mean like okay, tell me, what do you mean by differently?
Well, I approach it differently, you know.
Do you read it when you do just kind of open it randomly and read it, or do you have some kind of a method to where you are?
Good point. There are times I have key scriptures that I will read over and over and over again, okay, just to anchor myself in those promises.
Mm-hmm.
But I no longer open the Bible and look for a verse that just speaks to me. I open it now and I want to get the whole context of the story where that verse lies.
I love that.
Because if not, you'll take it completely out of context. And the other thing that I have, over the last 15, 20 years, I try to be more aware of the cultural setting in which that was written. Because if you're just trying to take 2026 and put it into Scripture and just read it from that perspective, you'll miss it entirely. You got to look at the culture of that day and the do's and don'ts. So, I don't know. I enjoy reading it. I started a Bible college, went to Bible college. I'm still not that very fluent in it.
It's inexhaustible.
It is.
You can always, like you said, discover new meanings and see things you've missed before. And sometimes it can be a little confusing, and especially you go into some of those Old Testament books. Well, this morning, Dr. Jeremiah reminds us and encourages us to keep reading, but also tells us that it's the Holy Spirit that can really help us understand the Word of God.
You can't have spiritual illumination unless you're a Christian. The Bible says that very clearly. I know people who have become Christians, and they have told me that they tried to read the Bible before they became Christians and it made no sense. And when they got saved, it was like somebody had rewritten the Bible, because all of a sudden it now made sense. The Bible says there's a mandate for spiritual illumination, but it's also a mystery. 1 Corinthians 2 says, "We speak wisdom among those who are mature, yet not the wisdom of this world. We speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the ages, which none of the rulers of this age knew, for if they had known this wisdom, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory." Paul is writing about the wisdom of God that is concealed from the people of this age. The princes of this world, the rulers of this age, the aristocrats, the political leaders, the intellectuals, many of them don't know the wisdom of God. And when you listen to them talk and you hear them speak, you realize they do not have a clue about who God is or what His Word is or what His purpose is.
Yeah. What a Bible teacher.
Mm-hmm.
What a communicator.
And we have his program on Sundays. When I remember when last time I got the Studio Insider, and I was looking at the schedule of our...
Oh, the new ones are out.
Yeah, the new ones, I got that one. We have David Jeremiah airing a few times.
Yeah, he's great. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories for this Thursday morning, better known as Friday Eve, and a couple of things that happened yesterday. An Obama-appointed judge struck down the president's executive order, which would have made it where citizens would have to prove their citizenship before being able to vote. And the judge struck that down as being unconstitutional. And to your point, Pauline, and you would know this because you went through the citizenship process, nowhere does it says prove your citizenship. It just says citizens. So it's a little bit of a ambiguity, I guess.
Right, because we do have a federal law, but then the question comes, how do you enforce it?
Yeah.
And again, this judge, I don't know her, the fact that she was appointed by Obama does kind of give us an idea where her ideas lie.
Right.
However, my understanding of the ruling is that she's not necessarily saying there shouldn't be proof. She's saying it shouldn't be a president's executive decision to enforce it.
So that kind of set things in motion yesterday to be a trigger point, because from this ruling, the president was not having a good day.
Yeah.
And over on Capitol Hill, they were discussing the War Powers Act, of which basically was heading to a vote which would have restricted the president from doing anything further with the conflict in Iran. And the president erupted. So what does he do? He goes to Capitol Hill and he meets with the senators behind closed doors. And in his strong, firm way, says, you guys are making it, what you're basically saying to the world is, by telling me I can't do anything, is that we fired all the bombs, we did all this stuff, everything else. War is now over, Iran wins. Because they're still in power, even though they lost. And if you pass this, you just told them and the world, we just lost this war. And now I guess they got into a heated exchange. And one of the guys that he gets into a heated exchange is Senator Cassidy. And he's the one that actually kind of started the conflict, because they're in the room, they're talking, and Cassidy is getting on the president pretty hard about, you're not telling us enough information about the war. We want more transparency here, yada, yada, yada. And that started it. And boy, it got pretty hot. And Cassidy had to say this. He's walking down the hall, and somebody put a camera in his face, and here's a little bit what he had to say.
The president was wondering why people would vote for the War Powers Act. I asked him if that would be a rhetorical question or a real question. He said real. And so as we began to speak, the president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people. And so, so it escalated from there. At some point, it de-escalated.
Yeah. So what happened was they ended up having a fairly heated discussion. You kind of wish you were the mouth in the room.
Well, but we kind of are reading all these details. We are getting the details of what happened behind closed doors. And obviously Iran is getting them too.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's almost like, well, President Trump is telling these people, if this XYZ happens, Iran is going to consider us as losers and we've lost, blah, blah, blah. But they see that this is happening. Do you think that's already having some kind of a damage to our reputation, the fact that this kind of a conflict situation happened yesterday? Or if Trump prevails and comes out as getting what he wants, it will solve things with Iran?
Well, a couple of things there. It looks like the president did win it at the end of the day, and here's why. Because the guy that he has the most heated part of the exchange with, Senator Cassidy, ended up acquiescing and voting against the War Powers Act. And guess who else voted against it, which is a shock? And that was Senator Rand Paul. Yeah. So the president, through his exchange with them, was able to peel off 2 of those votes, which stopped the restriction coming in over the top of him. But to your point, and it's a great one, and that is, in today's world, everybody knows everything. Everything we're talking about, you know, Iran's sitting over there trying to figure out, where does that leave the president? Is he really weak in this deal? Okay. In the meantime, the overall MOU is not sitting well with a lot of people, not sitting well with a lot of Americans, a lot of Republican senators. It's not sitting well with Israel, and yet he's pushing for it as we got to have the 60-day ceasefire, and during that 60 days we can negotiate a hardcore peace agreement. Most people are interpreting all of this as, first of all, you're telling Israel to stand down. We don't like that. You're also saying there that if they did everything, you're going to give them $300 billion. We don't like that. And secondly, what it really appears to be here is you're pushing this whole thing out past the election. So it doesn't pass the smell test, and it's really got a lot of problems with it. So what's he do? Instead of him getting involved, he sends the vice president over there to put the deal together. That's still not coming together. Now he's sending Marco Rubio, you know.
Yeah.
So he's having a hard go with this one. And then you throw this whole exchange yesterday on top of it. You just told Iran, hang in there, baby. You don't have to do anything.
But you made a good point that the fact that those two votes switched was a testament to President Trump's negotiating powers.
Right.
And who knows what else was said and promised. Maybe we don't know everything. Like how and why would Rand Paul finally, or not finally, would change?
Well, I think Rand Paul realizes
sees
that
the bigger picture.
Yeah, Rand Paul sees the big picture. He is a pragmatist at the end of the day. Okay, he's anti-war, everything. But on this deal, I think he sees what's really going on here. We cannot wave a white flag now, and we would be doing that. But you know what's interesting to me? I thought of this last night when I was watching this whole thing fall apart. I go, let me see, how can I say this so it comes out right? It appears to me that President Trump has never had to be responsible to a board. Ever. Therefore, his mindset is non-accountability. It's my way or the highway. Okay? And he's been a very successful businessman doing that. Okay? Because at the end of the day, he can yell and scream and get what he wants done. The affluent never have to accept the word no. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's the obvious thing that most of these presidents come in, have worked in some kind of an environment where they had an accountability group over them. And when they become president, the Congress becomes their accountability group. The president walks in, he could care less about what they think. This is what I want. Okay? In this case, it's working. Only because he's never been trained by being accountable to a board. And he can go in there and yell and scream all he wants, and he changed their minds, and it worked.
And another thing about him as a businessman, he's not afraid to walk away from a negotiation. And
you know what? I'll say this in a preliminary way. I did it myself about 6 weeks ago. I was in the middle of a deal, and in my spirit, I was going, gosh, this is big. I can't do this. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I mean, and we're talking a budget for the ministry here. We're talking $50 a month. $50 a month, okay? And I'm thinking, should I give for $50 a month? And I walked.
Never looked back.
Never looked back until 2 weeks ago. They called back, said, let's do your side of the deal. I'm not saying that as a victory. I'm saying that is somewhere along the line, you gotta keep true to yourself. What is it, Shakespeare? First to thyself be true. And but look, I don't mean this as a criticism of President Trump, and this is where the king stuff comes out of it. But he has built his empire by not accountable to anybody. Accountable to himself and what he wants. And the more money you put behind that, you know who else is developing that mindset? Elon Musk. He doesn't have to listen to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the things you got to be aware of. So he goes in there. He doesn't care what they think, and he doesn't care who's up for re-election. He doesn't even care that he's a lame duck president. He knows that he's a lame duck president. He goes in there and says, you guys, if you don't wake up, you're just sending a message to Iran that we just waved the white flag, and it worked.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right, the other thing now. So the president takes off his helmet, and he sets his weapon down, and he puts his red, white, and blue hat on.
Yeah, the MAGA hat.
The MAGA hat, and he goes to the launch of the 250. Here it is.
And 10 days from now, our country will celebrate one of the most monumental milestones in human history. We will mark 250 years of glorious American freedom. In 1776, our founding fathers met in Philadelphia and changed the world forever and ever with a thing called the Declaration of Independence. We all made, and you know that, free and equal by the hand of Almighty God. There has never been anything like the United States of America, and together we are making it bigger and better and stronger and far more exceptional than ever before.
Well, there's the key word.
He's
the exceptionalness of America.
Right, he's a master of adjectives. Bigger and better and more exceptional.
I have a question.
Yes.
You've been a citizen how long now?
2 years.
And you've been in America how long?
26 years.
Is America exceptional?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
To you, how?
That's a big question and a good one. Well, I've always said to me, now I love history, and by just from a historical point of view, it is exceptional in a way. It was founded and carried the ideas it was founded on for 250 years. There aren't many countries that have remained that. Mm-hmm. So that's from the historical point of view. Me personally, it just feels that. A land of opportunities feels very real to people who come here and get to experience it.
One other quick question before I take a break. And this is, it could be rhetorical, I guess. Yeah. I don't mean it to be. But it appears to me that people like yourself that come from another country into this country and go through the process to become a citizen. You came in as an exchange student under Rotary. You grew up, mm-hmm. you know, you get married, and now you're a citizen. It appears to me that you foreigners, if I can say that, you're not anymore, but you come in and you take advantage of exactly what America is all about and you succeed, versus those who were born here and never capture that.
Absolutely. I mean, things are often learned in comparison mm-hmm. in our life. And for those of us who come, especially from in some ways less fortunate situations, you obviously try to grab and take advantage of things. And that includes a lot of the rights, and this is something that I know you're very passionate about, elections. Quickly, I was talking to someone the other day and I asked them if they vote, and they said no. And they asked me if I vote, and I said yeah, and actually, you know, I've only been able to vote for the last 2 years. And this person had this blank stare, and not blank stare, a stare of awe. They looked at me and they said, wow, you really have only been able to do that for 2 years. That makes a huge, you know, I could see the things were turning in their head when they realized that they're not doing something they take for granted when someone else is only been able to do it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Things.
Well,
I just
interviewed my executive producer. How's it feel?
It's hard. It's hard having to answer questions. I'm used to be the one asking them.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. RVAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond, we could ask or imagine. His It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Come on, Steve.
All right, welcome back. 24 minutes past the hour. Polina is here. That just makes the day so much more fun.
So you start drilling me.
So she's enjoying her strawberry parfait in her head.
Yes.
So the word parfait in French is perfect?
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't speak French.
So Peggy and I have this little thing going because I try to take the quirks of the day of people. There's several terms that people are using today, and one is absolutely, and the other one is perfect.
Oh.
Have you ever noticed it? Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's perfect.
Everything is perfect.
You know? So I'm going to start using parfait. Parfait. All right, good morning to you. Hey, a little backyard news. Our congressman doing a good job. Representative Cliff Bentz, who takes in most of the area here, that takes in Southern Oregon and most of Eastern Oregon. Biggest land mass represented by one person, bigger than some states out there. Anyway, he sits on the committee dealing with the Great American Outdoor Act, which is the GAOA, and part of this argument is all of the land that's owned by the government in our state, which is a significant amount. And yet, citizens have been locked out, can't use it. So he's looking at this bill, he sits on the committee, and here's a little bit of his testimony during that committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this bill, which I strongly support. In my district, back in Oregon, there are 15.7 million acres of BLM land. And that land is included in the definition of asset. The improvement to the land or the maintenance of the land includes invasive species. Much of this land has been, unfortunately, invaded by different types of weeds, and it would be my hope that some of the 5% of this funding goes to helping address that incredibly important issue. I also want to mention that the bill contains a prohibition against acquisition of land or any interest in land, and that's extremely important to me, and I'm very happy for its inclusion in this bill. Mr. Chair, I think this is, as I mentioned when I was joining you and other members of the committee down in Arkansas a week or so ago, the importance of our national parks and other federal lands for the rejuvenation of visitors and their mental attitudes and the education of the importance of the beauty of these places. Why? Because the source of the funding is a diminishing resource, that is the royalties from oil and gas, and we should be investing, as we are, in the types of things that this bill focuses upon. I strongly support this bill and urge everyone else to support it also. Yield back.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. You know, I guess the bottom line here is that 15-something million acres controlled by the Bureau of Land Management in the state of Oregon, and not to mention state lands and everything. I think 60-something%, it could be higher, I should know that number and I don't, of the lands in Oregon is owned by some form of government. And so, and the citizens are being shut out. We live here because we want to go enjoy that stuff, you know, and I think we're good citizens and we want to respect it and manage it well. So anyway, we'll see where that argument goes. One other quick thing, and this is a reminder that today is the day that the Medford Chamber Leadership Council is going to celebrate the completion of a tiny home at Joy community just down the street here a little bit, where Pastor Chad McComas, an amazing guy, had this vision and saw a need, and I didn't realize how big the need was. How many citizens, how many senior citizens are homeless? Maybe been literally taxed out of their house.
Right.
Which is another argument I've really pounded that one. But the point being is, he saw the need and started developing a small home community for seniors who are homeless, and it's turned out to be a huge success. Well, the Chamber got involved and built one of those homes and dedicating it today. And if you're in our local area, go down to Joy Community. It'll be at 4:30 to 5 this afternoon. So that's kind of what's happening there. All right, let's check out Wall Street and see what's happening on this Friday morning. Thank you, Preston over there. Smart Lawn. If you're smart, you won't have to mow your lawn anymore. Your lawnmower will become a leaf blower. All right, look at the Dow up 239. The Nas went the other way, down 293. And the S&P off 10. Wow, that's really weird numbers. Usually the S&P is driving everything. I'm not sure what all that's about. But the Dow broke 52,000. Gold back up a few dollars, not much, 4,026. Oh, silver is going down, 57.30. That's quite a drop. And look at this, crude oil went down. Let's see, I'm going to guess here that's about $2.50, $72.99 a barrel. So good numbers in some ways.
Yeah. But who cares if you have a smart lawn, right?
Don't have to water it. You don't have to. You don't have to water it. You don't have to fertilize it.
You don't have to worry about anything. Just put some patio furniture on. Can you put patio furniture?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
And you can. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, socialism is not great.
No.
I can tell you from experience. But many people don't understand what it is and keep voting candidates in that are backed by social democrats or just the socialists. And one Democratic senator by the name of Lisa Blunt Rochester was on CNBC, and in that conversation the host asked her just, hey, can you give an example of a country that has success with socialism? Well, she couldn't. Here's a little bit of that exchange.
It might look different in different places across the country, but we do believe that people are concerned about this economy and the cost of things, and so we're going to continue to fight for them. So to me, it's a win-win.
Where has socialism ever worked, Senator?
Is that another question, or is that for the next interview?
That's definitely for you. You said fish doesn't work everywhere. I just want to know one place where socialism has been beneficial.
Well, when you have me come back on, we can talk about all the races across the country.
It was uncomfortable, and she obviously had no idea. And look, socialism sounds very appealing. It's when you talk about it as an economic system, collective ownership, government, a lot of things you don't have to worry about, but you also lose a lot of things. Competition creates quality. Competition creates abundance in many ways and choices. Just a quick example. Healthcare. It's wonderful to have free healthcare. My family enjoys it in Russia. My mom wasn't feeling well a couple of weeks ago. They just call an ambulance and an ambulance comes. So it's great. But, and granted, there are some doctors that are very passionate about what they do, nurses, doctors, and they really do well their craft and they're really devoted. But then there are some that just do it because they do it. And without competition, they just kind of do it just to get it done, and the quality suffers. When my grandpa had a stroke a couple of years ago, and they had to take him from our apartment and transfer him to the hospital, there were only 2 guys with a gurney, so my brother had to go and find a couple of neighbors to help them carry Grandpa. I mean, it was the whole ordeal just getting him to the hospital because everyone was so incompetent, and it was just one of many examples where, yes, you have something free, but the quality suffers. And that's something, sometimes you only have to figure out when you experience it.
Yeah. We haven't got enough time here, but I'm amazed how socialism, how Mondani in this last go-around 2 days ago, his form of socialism won 3 midterm elections against his own party, which is interesting. But I am convinced that socialism is a tool. In other words, let's give everybody everything they want free, which is a tool to get control. That's what socialism is about, government control. Then you take that and you replace it with an ideology that Mondani represents. He's using socialism to get what he ultimately wants, which is radical Islamic law. And you need to see this. And do we want America to go the way of the UK? Well, these elections are giving us an indication that the mindset is possibly there.
Yeah.
Scary.
It is. And
yeah.
I think we have something on the UK coming up, right? From CBN, or is it a different one?
Yeah, no, we got a different one. We'll talk about that. All right, let's, where are we here? I lost. Oh, yeah.
We're going to break.
Yeah, we're going to go have a parfait.
No parfait.
Our strong deliverer.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Your sweet tooth just became a force for good. The Salvation Army's Taste Good, Do Good Challenge is on June 5th through the 30th. And local bakeries, restaurants, and shops are serving up exclusive treats you can only get during the challenge. Hit different spots, collect punches, and vote for the best bite in town. And every delicious stop helps support local kids and veterans right here in our community. Start your adventure at tastegooddogood.net.
How you doing, Parfait? How you doing, Parfait?
I'm doing pretty perfect.
Pretty perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, listen, we're going to go back to CBN News, a little bit of an update now. This one, our friend over there, Joshua Swanson, quite a guy, he's talking about Iran, as you know, is controlling Hezbollah inside Lebanon, which is one of the sticky issues in the MOU. Gosh, only in the Middle East can it get this confusing. So let's check in with Joshua and find out what's going on.
Despite the war of words over Iran's nuclear program, the U.S. and Iran are preparing to return to the negotiating table in Switzerland. Speaking at the National Mall, President Trump said the U.S. military strikes forced Tehran back to diplomacy.
And thanks to the power and skill of the United States Armed Forces, today Iran has no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft capacity, no missile launches, no manufacturing, and their leadership has been obliterated. And for the first time in 3,000 years, we are finally going to have peace in the Middle East.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio sought to calm fears about the Strait of Hormuz as he traveled to Kuwait Wednesday, part of a three-country Gulf tour to reassure U.S. allies in the region.
I think the whole world will be against any mechanism that charges money to use an international waterway. It's that simple.
Meanwhile, Israel's Channel 14 reported comments attributed to IRGC Commander Ahmad Vahidi that offer a sharply different view. He stated, "We brought President Trump to his knees. We got what we wanted. And our goal right now is to keep the Americans on a short leash. Any violation, no matter how small, will allow us to threaten the closure of the Strait of Hormuz." Saudi journalist Abdulaziz Al-Khamis told CBN News that many in the region believe Iran is now politically stronger.
President Trump, and we think about him as a brave man when he did the decision to have a war with Iran. But what we saw, the result, the job is not complete.
Is the perception in the Middle East that Iran is winning?
Yeah, until now, yes. When they stay alive, it's meaning they win. They don't care about the damage. They don't care about how many people killed, how many bases destroyed. They win because they stay alive.
As to Israel's northern border, talks between Israel and Lebanon made little progress this week as disagreements continue over the proposed Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reaffirmed Israel's position.
As long as I'm Prime Minister, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. And another thing, as long as I'm Prime Minister, we will maintain the security zone in southern Lebanon.
Meanwhile, the IDF says it has surrounded dozens of Hezbollah fighters inside an underground tunnel complex in Tebnit after sealing the entrances. According to an Israeli security source, the message delivered through mediators was clear: surrender or be killed inside the underground system. While diplomats prepare to meet again, events on the ground suggest the struggle to contain Iran's influence across the region is far from over.
Let's continue our conversation now with Joshua Swanson. So some in the Middle East believe Iran's leaders won by simply staying alive. What's the view in Israel's government?
Yeah, Ephraim, surviving is winning, and that's how most here feel. But the Israeli government is also tasked with defending the country. And their view is that Iran's regime surviving this war means they are still on high alert. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's administration has aggressively pushed back against the narrative that the war is over. Publicly, Netanyahu claims Israel achieved significant military gains. But behind closed doors, however, reports are that Jerusalem feels undercut by the president, President Trump, and his administration. The recent memorandum of understanding with Tehran. The official Israeli position is that ceased campaign without completely dismantling the regime's nuclear or their regional proxies leaves unfinished business. There's a dangerous, unexploded ordnance still sitting on Israel's doorstep.
Could that mean another war in the future if Iran works to rebuild its nuclear program and its military?
Yeah, another big yes, Ephraim. And it's not just Israel that anticipates another war. Many of the Gulf states are betting on that exact same outcome. We have to look at the ideology driving this threat, right? The Islamic Republic of Iran subscribes to a radical Shiite theology. They believe the entire world must convert or die. And in this recent conflict, Tehran proved it, and it's entirely willing to attack Sunni Muslim nations of the region. That's the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. Because of this, the defense establishment here in Jerusalem views another major conflict alongside other Gulf nations, not just as a possibility, but as a mathematical certainty. Iran is going to use this current diplomatic breathing room to rebuild, and the next war will encompass the entire Middle East. So the mechanism for that rebuilding is already on the table, right? The U.S.-Iran accord includes a proposed $300 billion fund and the lifting of heavy sanctions. History's shown us time and again, when you pump massive capital into Tehran, that money goes directly to its proxy networks and nuclear enrichment and missiles.
You mentioned in your story, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is traveling to Middle Eastern countries to reassure them. What can you tell us about what he's saying?
Yeah, the Secretary of State is on a high-stakes 3-day diplomatic damage control tour through the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Bahrain. He's attempting to sell a skeptical region on an agreement negotiated largely behind the scenes by the Vice President, J.D. Vance, Jared Kushner, and Stephen Witkoff. Rubio is telling Gulf allies that any final deal with Iran will fundamentally secure their interests, explicitly guaranteeing safe transit through the critical Strait of Hormuz and reinforcing Washington's ironclad defense commitment to its UAE and its neighbors, right? But the reality on the ground is that the Gulf partners remain anxious.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you about all that.
It is an interesting situation where you have Iran control Hezbollah in Lebanon, and then Israel is fighting them while we're trying to end this war with Iran. It's
the other part of the equation, and it's still hard for me to process. What was the president thinking by asking Syria, or no, not asking, suggesting that Syria ought to go in and manage Hezbollah? Can you tell me what that's all about? And then he's backed away from that now, which is kind of interesting. But I thought, well, all right, that's the Middle East, confusion. Yeah. All right, here's the weather. It's not confusing. It's nice, very nice.
Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 70s through Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with lows tonight falling back into the 50s. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy conditions continue through the valleys. Salem tops out near 78. Albany and Corvallis will settle into the upper 70s, and Eugene sees 79 with a calm west wind. Increasing clouds in central Oregon with Prineville reaching the low 80s. Mostly cloudy in Bend and Sun River, while Boise stays warmer with a slight chance of thunderstorms than sunny skies near 92. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog gives way to mostly cloudy skies in Coos Bay and Brookings, with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Port Orford sees 63 and Crescent City 62, with cloud covers throughout the day. In southern Oregon, partly sunny skies for the Rogue Valley, with Grants Pass and Medford approaching 90 degrees. Ashland tops out near 84, and increasing clouds develop in Klamath Falls, with highs in the low 80s. Northern California heats up with mostly sunny skies. Wairika reaches 88, while Redding climbs to 96 and Chico 93. Fort Bragg sees mostly sunny skies and highs near 60. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog clears to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa with highs near 80. Decreasing clouds in 63 in San Francisco, while San Jose stays sunny with highs near 80. For Central California, sunny conditions continue with highs near 89 in Sacramento, Stockton and Modesto. Fresno and Visalia reach 97 and Bakersfield near 98, with lows tonight mainly in the 60s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Yes, Jerry in his archives. We love Jerry, we love history, and we love airplanes. And on this day, we have a story that has to do with air travel. Here's Jerry.
On June 25, 1919, the first flight of the Junkers F-13 took place. It was the first advanced monoplane and is considered the world's first practical all-metal passenger airliner and helped usher in a new era of commercial aviation. At a time when most airplanes were built from wood and fabric, the German-designed F-13 was revolutionary. Its metal construction made it stronger, more durable, and better suited for carrying passengers. The aircraft had an open cockpit, but could carry 4 passengers in an enclosed cabin, a luxury in an era when flyers still sat exposed to the wind and weather. More than 300 F-13s would eventually be built, serving airlines on several continents and helping prove that commercial air travel could be safe, reliable, and profitable. It remained in production for 13 years and in commercial service for more than 30. So if you've ever flown a modern airliner, you can trace part of its design heritage back to the Junkers F-13, a pioneering aircraft that helped transform flying from an adventure into a means of transportation.
All right, so you still don't want to go up with me.
I'm thinking about it. I'm considering options, weighing different options and scenarios.
Well, what if we just went up and flew around in the pattern here? In other words, we don't go anywhere. We just go up and we stay with the airplane. You just stay in the pattern. So we take off. We do a 90-degree turn. We fly a base leg.
Whatever that means.
Downwind. Downwind. Then you turn a base leg. Then you turn the final. Okay.
I think what it is just like so many other people, we tend to reject things we don't understand. And I think if we sat down and you explained to me how things, I don't want to know everything about airplanes.
Yeah.
But I just want to know that it's safe and that this is what we're going to be doing. I think that would give me peace of mind.
First thing I'd teach you is how to take over if I keeled over.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that would actually help. Then I know. I want to be in control. Deal.
Deal. Okay. All right. We'll be right back. We're going to take a parfait break. We'll be right back.
They're looking for it.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. History. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
All right, welcome back. And hey, I got a question for you, because you track things.
Try to, yes.
Do you think, it's somewhat rhetorical, but do you think the Democratic Party, this sounds very political and negative, not, just, we got to talk about these things. Do you think the Democratic Party, from what you see from your perspective, has changed?
Since when?
Well, since you tracked it.
I think so. I mean, I think it's changing. I was watching some old clips yesterday, and Gerard Lamero popped up.
Oh,
Dr. Lamero.
Yeah.
He was really good at analyzing different parties. Yes, I think so. And I think in the last few years, the crazies, probably in both parties, but the crazies in the Democratic Party have also helped to for the party to start shaping things. Because I don't think, So to answer your question, yes.
For those of us who went through the JFK days and to where we are today, and there's a reason why RFK is no longer a D and went over and worked for an R. I mean, so something has happened, and now you have this term socialism out there, and I mean radical socialism out there being pushed. So I asked that of yes, Megan Barth. She has an opinion about everything. She's great. She's the executive editor of the California Globe, and here's what she said about the changes within the Democratic Party.
You have, national Democratic figures, including Ro Khanna, who's a senator from Silicon Valley, who accused Elon Musk of murdering 4.5 million children because he disbanded USAID from causing chaos around the world. If anything, Elon Musk saved 4.5 million children. But you have Ro Khanna coming out and praising the communist candidate endorsed by the communist Mandami in New York, who used an American flag, according to her, to wipe the filth off her hands. This is who the Democratic Party is. This is not an aberration. This is not some fringe element of the Democratic Party. They call themselves Democratic Socialists because Democrats welcome them into their party. They fundraise for socialists. They back socialists, just like Ro Khanna did, just like Kathy Hochul in New York did with Mandami. This is the face of the Democratic Party. We are no longer blue dog Democrats. You no longer have moderate Democrats. You no longer have JFK Democrats. You don't even have Democratic Socialists. They are Democrats. They are socialists. And they are fundamentally, because socialism is much closer to communism, right? That's where it all leads. It doesn't lead to capitalism.
So do you think it's actually working out for Democrats? Because I see what Megan is saying, and yet there are some moderate Democrats out there, not so radical. I mean, I never thought I'd say that, but look what happened to Fetterman. You know, how he was commonsensical on so many issues, and there's some other ones like that. And in a way, the Democratic Party is kind of all over the place, but that helps them cover a broader base.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think the divide between the parties has never been greater. But listen, the Republicans have their problems too. And you have what some would call rhinos. You have some that would be true Republicans, and then you have those who are being criticized for being MAGA. So you got all this division going on. I will say one thing about the Democrats: they get an A+. If you take what I'm about to say and really watch for it, you'll see it. They get an A+ in blaming you for what they're doing. They're very good at it. They will get news headlines blaming you for what they're doing. So by blaming you, that creates the disguise, the shield for them to continue to do it. And they're very good at it because they have no conscience. They have no conscience. So if you watch the headlines from the left side of the aisle and they start complaining about things, it usually means that they're blaming you for what they're doing.
They're also good at sticking together.
Yes, very much so.
And party first.
Yeah. All right, Ruthie Bloom will be with me. We'll look forward to talking to her live from Israel coming up in a few moments, so stick around for that one.
Yes, but let's end the show on a positive note. Jerry comes up and finds these stories all the time. Here's another record he'd like to highlight for us for a good cause.
A skateboarder has rolled his way into the record books once again after crossing the United States in just 39 days. Chad Caruso traveled more than 3,000 miles from Venice Beach, California to Jacksonville, Florida, averaging an incredible 72 miles a day on his skateboard. The journey shattered his own Guinness World Record. In 2023, Caruso completed a coast-to-coast skateboarding trip in just over 57 days. But this latest ride was about more than setting records. Caruso says the trek also marked 10 years of sobriety and celebrated the activity that helped turn his life around. Along the way, he raised money for Natural High, a nonprofit that encourages young people to stay active and avoid drugs and alcohol. From the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic, Caruso proved that determination can take you a very long way, more than 3,000 miles in fact.
I can't imagine skateboarding that far.
No, have you ever skateboarded? Have you ever been on a skateboard?
Yeah.
You have?
Well, you know, in a dumb way.
Right.
I should never even attempt that.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Yeah. All right, take with you Habakkuk 2:14. There we go. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of God as the waters cover the earth. And media is a big part of that.
Yes, I see now what you're...
Season to Shine, a new inspiring program for women. Through meaningful and relatable conversations, we'll help you discover God's purpose in every season, empowering you to shine. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 4 p.m. on theDove TV.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. RVAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV. The Dove TV wishes you a happy 4th of July as America celebrates 250 years.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And of course, the Middle East is the Middle East, and it's always hard to figure out sometimes. And I am always honored when we have time to sit down with our good friend Ruthie Bloom. She is so busy, and yet when we call, she gives us time, and believe me, I greatly appreciate it. A former advisor in the office of the Prime Minister of Benjamin Netanyahu, an award-winning columnist and senior contributing editor at now called the Jerusalem News Syndicate, and co-host of the Israel Diplomatic. And there's a picture of the landing page. JNS.org is the landing page, JNS.org. Ruthie, good to see you. How are you?
Oh, it's great to see you again, Perry.
Thank you. Why? First of all, you changed from Jewish to Jerusalem. What was that? What's that about?
We did, and I think it was a very smart move. And the reason is that we're not just for Jews, nor we have Christians, Muslims, Jews, others who write for us and read us. And we are actually, our mission is defending the West. It's not just a Jewish mission. And so we decided that, and we didn't want to change the initials that are our brand, JNS.
Right.
And after all, we do have a main office in Jerusalem. So we thought it would be appropriate to call it that.
Well done. Well done. It helps me from making that mistake.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Actually, you see, you once made that mistake, but actually it's now accurate.
Okay, there we go. All right, a lot to talk to you about. They're trying to say that the talks are making progress, but yet this is so interesting. From Israel's perspective, what's some of the biggest concerns with the MOU?
Well, the MOU itself, all 14 points of the MOU, might as well have been crafted by President Obama. And that's what's worrying us, because President Trump has, up until now, both in his first term and since his second term began, been the opposite of Obama, not just in relation to Iran, but this is the subject at the moment. Certainly, we don't need another deal like the one he ripped up. Now, it's true that the memorandum of understanding is not the final so-called deal. Nevertheless, if it's the basis for any deal, it's a disaster. And it also, in any case, even though it's bad already, there's no way that the regime in Tehran will honor any of its own commitments in any case. And a bigger trouble is that it also includes Lebanon. You just mentioned talks, but there are also talks going on in Washington between the Lebanese government and the Israeli government, representatives of those governments. And if the memorandum of understanding, if the Iranian regime is insisting that Israel leave Lebanon completely in order for Iran to even consider signing a deal with the United States, well, then that's impossible.
How offensive was it for Israel not to be mentioned or invited to be part of the construction of the MOU?
Well, offensive, I think, is the wrong word. And I don't really know. I don't know what's going on in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's mind. There are positive elements to it and negative ones. The negative ones, of course, are that if Israel is a party to this in the sense that any deal made between Iran and the United States involves dictating something to Israel, well, then Israel should be a party to it. However, it wouldn't be helpful for Israel to be a party to a deal that it cannot accept even minimally. So I think the problem here is not that Israel wasn't involved, but rather Israel, and I'm not going to speak for the prime minister at all, but speaking for myself and most Israelis across the political spectrum, and that is that President Trump seems to have done an about-face on his own policies. And so Israel, that did accept or embraced his policies, now Israel is in a situation where we don't want to go against President Trump on the one hand, and on the other hand, it feels a lot like, what are we supposed to do? We were all for his previous policies and now against his current ones.
A couple things here, and I want to come back to that very point. But first of all, both Israel and the United States agree that Iran cannot have nuclear capabilities, okay? The recent moves by the United States indicates that possibly, yes, we'll go in there and we'll take out all the nuke stuff, but the regime stays in place. As far as Israel's concerned, there has to be a regime change. Now we have that difference between the two. How serious is that?
Well, look, all along throughout the war, Israel was more focused on regime change. Not that we weren't focused on the nuclear question, of course, but the issue is nukes in the hands of a regime like that, they're particularly dangerous. But Israel, we also cared very much about the Iranian people being extricated from this regime. And so did President Trump seem to be when he said to them, help is on the way. He said that at the end of January or early February or whenever it was, and then on February 28th, he launched this war together with Israel. And so it did seem like help was on the way, and made tremendous accomplishments. But the Iranian people are still being executed. They have no weapons with which to, again, take to the streets, and certainly they don't want to get slaughtered again, another 40,000 of them. So that's not good anymore. That issue is not being raised. Then there are the ballistic missiles issue and the proxies. Now Iran backs Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran, as is Hamas and the Houthis in Yemen. And without dealing with the proxies. Now, it's interesting that President Trump, every time he posts on Truth Social, he says one thing and then he says the opposite. So we don't really know what he's thinking. The only question is, okay, what happens when Iran totally violates even its verbal agreement to sort of sit down and negotiate, which it's already doing by saying that it's not true that Iran will not take tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump says they agreed. They say they don't agree. So before there's any negotiations, there's already a total dispute. And believe me, if you need to choose which side to think is telling the truth, it certainly is in Iran.
Okay, so with this about face and the president's approach to this whole thing, is it seen from your perspective more political on behalf of the president dealing with potential midterm elections, or do you think philosophically he has done an about face?
Look, it's hard to imagine that he's philosophically done an about face in the space of 10 days. Okay? I mean, you don't wake up one morning and have some kind of epiphany. I mean, some people do, right? But I just don't think that's what happened. Now, many people say this is because of the midterms and that he got spooked because many Americans were against this war, and they're against the war partly because he didn't explain it well enough, or he didn't make his case to the American people as well as he should have. But I argue that it's possible that there's the midterms and there's the Strait of Hormuz and the global energy crisis that he was afraid was going to befall the planet, and he was afraid that he'd be blamed for it, etc. But I would argue that he's not going to win the midterms by losing a war. Americans may not have liked this war or understood it, But Americans sure don't like losing a war, especially when they were winning it.
You don't expect, and I don't think anybody else does really either, for Iran to fulfill any kind of a signature on a piece of paper. So we have delayed the inevitable. And I'm wondering if they are trying to delay it to be closer to the 4th of July to really make things very messy.
Well, yes, they're trying to delay it indefinitely so that they can regroup, rearm, get more funding from Qatar. I mean, we have a ridiculous situation here where Pakistan and Qatar are these mediators. These are bad actors. These are Islamist bad actors, and it's very worrisome. However, the question isn't what they're doing. That's what the Iranian regime is doing. The question is President Trump prepared to make good on his threats about what happens if they don't do what he wants? Now, he has said a couple of times, okay, look, in that case, I'll just blow them all up. Or, I'm paraphrasing President Trump. We'll see. It's hard to imagine. Now, I heard some theories over the last few days that, in fact, if he loses the midterms, he'll be the kind of lame duck who doesn't really care. He doesn't need to appease voters. And at that point, but he still will care about his legacy. And at that point, he will feel freer to resume the kinetic war, the actual fighting. I don't know if that's true. There are so many theories floating around.
Right, yeah.
I tend to doubt. I think that the more time that goes by, the less likely the United States is to resume combat.
Yeah, we're hearing the same kind of theories over here. Let me ask you another little question here, Ruthie, as it relates to this MOU. As he was putting the 14 elements of the MOU together, he went ahead and removed the blockade over at the Straits of Hormuz. And I'm assuming that was to show good intentions, but at the same time, it's enriching Iran again. Was that premature in your thinking?
I think it wasn't only premature, I think it was a total mistake because it was working. It was working. It was a brilliant move on his part. Iran said, we're taking the Strait of Hormuz hostage, we own it. And then President Trump said, oh yeah, I'll show you. I'm going to blockade you. And that was a brilliant move. And it was working. It was choking the Iranian regime while also making the Iranian people suffer terribly. But the trouble is that the American people were hysterical over the rising gas prices at the gas pump. I feel bad because I wish Americans could walk in the shoes of the Iranian people for 5 minutes who have trouble getting water. It's not just gas in the gas pump. They are really, really in a terrible situation, and they were willing to have patience enough to defeat their regime if Israel and the United States help them. And Americans don't even have patience to wait for gas prices to go down, after they're up. They're high, but they're still half of what Israelis pay for gas, by the way, just so you should know.
Okay. Do the Iranian people feel violated?
Yes. I say that without hesitation because Iran experts I know who do have some connections or family connections inside Iran say that these are people who were so enamored of Trump. They were cheering him on, and Netanyahu, both. And now they feel betrayed. And they feel betrayed not because he didn't say he stopped talking about them. They feel betrayed because he's enriching the regime. He's also saying he's going to unfreeze assets. And it's not just releasing the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. It's also unfreezing assets. To enrich them is to just perpetuate their regime and enable them to rebuild. And what's so illogical about it is that he's the one who has been saying, rightly so, that he destroyed their Air Force, he destroyed their Navy, he took out all their leaders, the first tier and then the second tier. He says all this, and he's absolutely right. It makes no sense at this moment then to say, okay, we're done, and treat the regime as though it is an equal partner in some kind of negotiation.
All right, well said. All right, let me take a quick break. Such an honor to have back with us today Ruthie Bloom, and she is a senior contributing editor there at the Jerusalem News Syndicate. JNS.org is the website. That's the place to go and support them. We'll be right back.
The Black Barn Kitchen and Deli is a farm-to-table restaurant located in the historic schoolhouse in Jacksonville. Offering upscale dining and casual fare, enjoy brunch, deli, and dinner, featuring local source ingredients we grow. A warm sense of comfort greets you as you're surrounded by stunning artwork by my wife. We're a community-based business. With every sandwich you purchase, we give one back to our community. It's a feel-good experience. Come visit the Black Barn Kitchen and Deli in Jacksonville.
In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges,
I want to talk about the role of a Christian, even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of like an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV. Seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Fresno Visalia area on new full-power KEDZ TV.
All right, welcome back, and what an honor to have back with us today. Very timely. Ruthie Bloom's back with us. She's a former advisor there to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in his office a little while ago. She's an award-winning columnist and senior contributor to the now Jerusalem News Syndicate and the co-host of Israel Undiplomatic. Check out the website. JNS.org is the place to go. Ruthie, I was thinking there was another part of this that's so interesting. Somewhere along the line recently, the president had suggested that somehow Syria go in and take care of Hezbollah. Can you explain that one to me?
Well, this new regime in Syria is anti-Hezbollah. But here's the thing. This regime is headed by al-Julani, whose new name is Ashara. And President Trump doesn't seem to think that he's still ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Okay, even though since taking over now, it's true, he took over from an evil regime, the Assad regime. But make no mistake, he's a terrorist in a tie, despite the fact that President Trump sprayed him with his perfume, Trump's perfume. But also, Ashara has butchered people in Syria, Alawites, Druze, Christians. If he were allowed to or persuaded to go into Lebanon to deal with Hezbollah, he would probably be chopping off all the heads of the Christians in Lebanon. You have to be careful. This guy, it's still good that the Assad regime fell, but make no mistake, this is not a Western guy. This is not a pro. Now, at the moment, he may like President Trump because Trump has been showering him with praise and treating him as though, again, as though he's some new great leader. And it's dangerous.
Okay, what's the status of the accord these days?
Well, which accord? Are you talking about the Abraham Accords?
Yes.
Well, I would say fragile, but that's really because the Gulf states that signed the Abraham Accords with Israel did so for several reasons, and some of those seem to be shaky. Now, one main reason was they were helping, they were joining forces with the United States brokered this, but it was really a deal between Israel and the Gulf states as an anti-Iran axis. That's number one. And number two, the Gulf states saw that Make America Great Again, that President Trump was making America great again. So America was going to be a strong ally in the way that it hadn't been for quite a while. And coupled with Israel's prowess, not just military prowess, but in every field, science, agriculture, AI, tech, every possible field. And they were excited. We saw that. There are all kinds of programs, exchange programs, of knowledge and shared goals in all kinds of fields. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the regime began to fire missiles on them during the war, they got spooked on the one hand, and they were telling Trump, maybe you could end the war quickly because we're now getting hit. It's not just Israel. That's why the regime in Tehran did it, so that they would pressure Trump to end the war. And now I think they're feeling that if Trump is now sort of appeasing Iran and slightly turning his back on Israel, that maybe they made the wrong decision to sign the Abraham Accords. They're not saying they're canceling them. But I think they're very concerned. They're concerned about their safety, and they're concerned about who's going to help them when Iran attacks again, or if Iran attacks them again.
Okay, so do you think there's something that we don't see here that the president's trying to do, or is he really now operating with a misunderstanding that the bottom line of the Middle East is more religious than it is political?
I'm praying that that this is a ploy, and that he has a plan. And after the celebrations of 250 years of American independence, and maybe even after the midterms, but not necessarily, that he is going to say, okay, enough is enough. And that he's behind the scenes, he's planning this. Now, the reason that seems a little bit iffy is that he has put some his faith and power, or I would say authority, in the hands of Vice President J.D. Vance, who has had a different view of this war all along, and who has, let's say, a difficult view of Israel. Now, it could be that soon he's going to say, okay, you failed, JD, and resume giving Marco Rubio more authority. We don't know. I am praying he has a plan. I can't imagine that he flipped so much in such a short time, but I don't know. It's very worrisome.
I want to come back to Qatar and Pakistan, and I guess one of the questions is, why are they even on the table? Why are they considered to be informed? Especially Pakistan trying to host some of these things, and yet their railroad system is resupplying Iran with stuff from China. I mean, I don't know. What am I missing here, Ruthie?
You know what? You're asking the wrong person, because not just Pakistan. What about Qatar? Qatar was the main mediator in Gaza, and Qatar is funding every evil actor on the planet, has infiltrated the American universities, has given money everywhere. I mean, Qatar is an ATM machine with evil ideology. So when you're asking me, how did they get to be, instrumental? I would say, I have no clue. Now, one thing is true about President Trump. He may not understand the Middle East at all. But in fairness, those who have understood the Middle East, or so-called experts, have been terrible at foreign policy with the Middle East. And at least President Trump had, initially at least, a really healthy instinct, gut instinct about the world. And that was working for a while. And here's another thing. I don't know how seriously we can take, you know how he's always saying really nice things about dictators. President Xi of China, he's a great guy. Erdogan of Turkey, terrific guy, we're friends. He just has all these dictators or theocrats, and he says all these lovely things about them, and yet we'll say about Netanyahu, I told him you're effing crazy. So I'm wondering if we really need to take all that so literally.
Okay. So you're suggesting something that I think we're all kind of saying. Is there another plan here? I don't know. I don't know. I know that he considers himself the great deal maker, the great persuader. But let me ask you a hypothetical question, 30,000-foot view. Let's just say somewhere in the very near future, the regime and the nuclear capabilities in Iran are neutralized. Where does that leave the Middle East?
Oh, it would leave the Middle East open to so much more, I would say, much greater peaceful. I don't like to use the word peace because, that's an all-encompassing word. But it would free the Iranian people to select the leadership that is not an evil theocracy. It would create the conditions for more peaceful relations between Israel and all its neighbors. It would help the West. It would be a wonderful outcome if that regime fell. Now, we know, it's true that we don't know. Just because it falls doesn't mean it would be replaced by Pollyanna, okay?
Right.
However,
yeah.
And the same, as I said about Syria, doesn't mean it would be replaced by, all kinds of wonderful leaders. Right. But it can't be more evil than the current regime.
Okay. One last question. How would you describe today the resolve of the citizens of Israel, or is there a fatigue factor that we don't see?
Well, there's always an element of fatigue in Israel, but it doesn't come from, I would say, societal fatigue. It comes from literal fatigue that our soldiers and reservists have been basically going in and out of battle. Many of them haven't even come home for a long time, long stretches, including my own son, who was in Gaza for, more, 150 days or whatever it is altogether. They're tired physically. And some of them, they're in their late 30s, early 40s, things like that. When soldiers get drafted here, they're 18 years old. So think about that. The age of someone who's, now, a 40-year-old, as far as I'm concerned, is young, but is he really young enough to be carrying heavy gear? And there's a reason that soldiers are young. And so we've just been fighting and fighting and fighting. And the weariness also comes from the home front, saying, are we running to bomb shelters this week or aren't we? Mm-hmm. There is fatigue, but there was very, very high morale up until a few days ago, because the idea was we're winning. America's winning and Israel is winning. And this is good, even if we are in a bomb shelter. And now the feeling is, maybe not.
Ruthie, you're inspiring. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying up for us today. Let me sure to our viewers and listeners, check out the website, jns.org, which is the Jerusalem News Syndicate. There's a picture of the landing page. It's the go-to place if you really want to find out what's going on over there, jns.org. Thank you, Ruthie. God bless you, my friend. Let's stay in touch.
And God bless you, Perry.
Okay.
The Salvation Army fleet of vehicles is critical to providing essential services in our community, from picking up food for our food pantry to taking kids to camp and youth programming. We rely on Kelly's Automotive to keep us on the road so we can continue to provide the needs of our community 365 days a year. We can't do that without our fleet of vehicles in Kelly's Automotive.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Your sweet tooth just became a force for good. The Salvation Army's Taste Good, Do Good Challenge is on June 5th through the 30th. And local bakeries, restaurants, and shops are serving up exclusive treats you can only get during the challenge. Hit different spots, collect punches, and vote for the best bite in town. And every delicious stop helps support local kids and veterans right here in our community. Start your adventure at tastegooddogood.net.
All right, welcome back, and I've been looking forward to our special guest today, Stephen Banta. He is the executive senior editor there at the New American Magazine. He holds a PhD in linguistics from Cornell University, taught both at Cornell and Penn State, and has lived and worked in several countries, including Argentina, India, Sri Lanka, and China. And you can go to newamerican.com is the website, and there's a picture of that landing page, newamerican.com. Dr. Banta, good to see you. How are you, friend?
Hey, great to be with you. How are you?
Thanks for your time. Hey, quite the I guess you could say shake up in New York with the primaries. What's your thinking? What's your take?
Well, I mean, I'm not too surprised at the result. 3 candidates in the primaries, that are endorsed by Mamdani, moving on to the elections, and presumably they'll win their respective elections as well. But this is more like the logical outcome of what New York has been trending towards for literally generations, than a radical departure from the past. I think in my lifetime, they've only had one Republican mayor, and that's Giuliani, that I can remember. And for me, maybe the more alarming concern is not New York per se, but the fact that the doctrine of socialism has become a national obsession. I mean, there was a Gallup poll. It was taken among Democrats in 2010, and then again, I think in this year. And they compared it basically had Democrats rate favorable, unfavorable, capitalism and socialism. And it was about 50-50 split back in 2010. And now socialism is like 62%, and capitalism is a much lower figure. So, clearly socialism is the flavor of the day for the Democrats. This is alarming, but in a way, I kind of look at it that they're finally calling their policies what they are. I mean, they've actually been socialistic since at least the New Deal. But in those days, socialism, the term was still kind of poisonous, kind of toxic, so they didn't call themselves socialists at the time. Now they're simply embracing who they truly are. That's how I see it anyway.
All right, so they're gaining, and they've identified themselves as socialists. Okay, and I think you make a good point. That's how they've been governing all along. But here's the question. Do you think the average American understands what socialism really is?
Well, no, and certainly most average American socialists don't understand what socialism really is. They think socialism is what they have in Denmark and Sweden. And if you say to them, well, but look at the hundreds of millions of lives that were lost to various socialist experiments in the 20th century, in Nazi Germany, which was socialist, let's forget. The Z part of Nazis is short for socialism, National Socialism. And of course, obviously Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, and so forth. And they'll always say, yes, but that wasn't really socialism. Or if they prefer to call it Marxism, they say, well, that wasn't true Marxism. They're doubling down on Marx as well. They're saying Marx was a great man, and the whole problem with Marxism is that his ideas were taken out of context and abused, and so forth, and so forth. And of course, they always resort to whataboutism. They'll say, but look at all the evils of imperialism and capitalism and all this. And so, so it's very difficult to win an argument with them because they have a strong emotional attachment, particularly young people who haven't had much life experience, whose entire experience in life has been socialistic, meaning they've lived at home, someone else has provided for them. And so naturally, when they move on into college and so forth, where that continues to an extent, they're apt to see that as the ideal way that human affairs should be ordered. So that's where we are.
So what can the Democrats point to as successful socialism?
Well, again, as I say, they always invoke the Scandinavian examples. But if you look carefully at the likes of Sweden, Sweden was actually very socialist for a long time, but they gave that up at a certain point. I believe by the 1970s, they had near 100% income tax rates on their wealthiest people. And this was opposed by the likes of the lady who wrote the Astrid Lindgren, I think she was, the famous author that wrote the children's books on Pippi Longstocking. She kind of was one of the leaders against it. We can't do this. You're basically you can't be rich in Sweden anymore. So Sweden kind of moved away from that. Denmark and Norway are less, and other Western European countries are strongly dirigist in terms of their economic policies, but not really socialistic in the same way that the former Eastern Bloc countries were, or that China still is, or many other countries in the so-called Third World, including countries where I've lived, like Sri Lanka, whose official name is the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. These countries do practice strong central command economies, and the results are predictable: poverty, misery, and corruption. But all of these inconvenient facts are glozed over by the American left, who continue to insist that if you just put the right configuration of brainy people in charge, meaning themselves, socialism will work. Because after all, at heart, we're all altruistic. We're not selfish and self-seeking as heartless monsters like Ayn Rand and Milton Friedman would have us believe. We, in fact, are just very close to achieving this kind of temporal paradise, earthly paradise, if only you allow us enough latitude to change human nature by force if necessary. But hey, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. So, that's how the argument goes.
Why is religion an enemy of socialism?
Well, that's an interesting question. If you look at the history of socialism, it was not always so. In the early days of socialism, there were people, Saint-Simon in particular, who believed that socialism was kind of the political realization of the Christian ideal. And he claimed that, some of those early communes in the 19th century claimed to be Christian and to be carrying out God's will. However, what happened during the course of the 19th century was that the atheist wing of socialism, led, of course, by Marx himself and the communists, won the ideological battle. And so, there's also an interesting linkage between early socialism and certain key occult figures like Aleister Crowley, Eliphas Levi, and so Eliphas Levi was a very prominent Saint Simonite socialist early in his career before he decided to become a wizard, in effect. Right? And that does continue. There is still, among international socialists, there is a strong interest in New Age type religion, things like this. You see that in evidence in the United Nations and so forth. The one type of religion that modern socialists cannot abide, of course, is Christianity, because, ultimately it's understood that, socialism, most many forms of socialism from the very beginning were not just economic movements. They were also social movements. The early socialists did things like they tried to abolish the family and practice communal love and all this stuff. So, the modern left's love affair with LGBTQ and all this stuff is not a modern aberration. It has been part of the socialist movement all along. And this is something that people fail to understand. So in that sense, socialism also encompasses moral and ethical norms. It's, of course, trying to radically change those. So obviously it views Christianity as a very strong competitor in that regard.
Well, with all due respect, that if left unchecked, it wipes out conscience.
Oh, sure. That's obviously, it goes without saying. I'm trying to present this kind of in an academic way.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you ask yourself the right and wrong of it, socialism is contrary not only to human nature, it's also contrary to God's plan. It runs counter to everything, every fiber of Western Christian civilization. It's really very much an anti-Christian movement at core. And, starting with egalitarianism and collectivism, the notion that we all should be forced to be radically equal, it runs counter to our God-given human nature. We're not equal in any sense other than the sense of being equal under the law. And that, of course, is the type of equality that socialists don't care for. But they do like equality of outcome and equality of opportunity. And the twin reality of those are that we're never going to have those things in this world, nor are we meant to. We have a diversity of talents, of circumstances, and it's that kind of diversity, actually, that accounts for the richness of culture and human experience and all this kind of thing. And socialism, with what used to be called the leveling impulse, is an attempt to do away with those things by people who are profoundly, viscerally dissatisfied with life and the world and humanity, and just see everything as ridden with fault and ill, and that only they possess the moral purity to be able to correct.
Wow. So, Dr. Bonda, there's been plenty of research that is suggesting that young people are seeing the falsehood of it. I've had Dr. George Barna on quite a bit. We talk about this, and there seems to be a genuine move of young men investigating faith as a means of that they've been lied to, the culture's been lied to. Socialism is just a big candy bar that sooner or later you have to pay for 50 times over. Do you sense that?
Well, I think there's kind of a bifurcation going on. You do have, on the one hand, conservatism, as so styled, has captured, I think, thanks to the exertions of people like Charlie Kirk and before him, a generation ago, Ron Paul and other people like this, have made it cool in some sectors to be anti-socialist, to be pro-free market, to be pro-individual liberty, and all this sort of thing. So it's not universally true that young people are, as Rush Limbaugh used to put it, skulls full of mush, in effect. But it is also substantially true that those who are inclined to be militant leftists are becoming more militant and more leftist and more prone to violence than at any time since, in my lifetime, since the 1960s, probably. I mean, there have been a couple of upheavals of extreme leftist radicalism in the United States. The first one was at the very beginning of the 20th century, with the spate of anarchist terrorist attacks and so forth that just convulsed the country from about 1900 to about the early 1920s. And then again in the 1960s and 1970s. And now we seem to be entering another cycle of extreme leftist violence. And where that leads is hard to say, but if past is prelude, these things flare up. And then after a while, most of the perpetrators are either caught or killed, or they age out of their radicalism, as happened with many of the 60s radicals. And the country retains to some semblance of sobriety. But, we'll see. I mean, I don't want to downplay the direness of our situation right now. There's always been a danger that America will become a full-fledged socialist country. And in many ways, we have adopted socialism. And we already have a fully Marxist financial system, for example, per the recommendations of Karl Marx in the Communist Manifesto. We have a central bank with a full monopoly on currency, which is one of the things that Marx wanted. We also have a heavy graduated income tax. That's another one of the, and we've had these things for more than 100 years. And these are both key planks in the communist program. So, and of course, now more recently, we have socialized medicine in everything but name. The only thing remaining is to shift over into what's called euphemistically a single payer system, which is fully socialized medicine. Basically, a health sector controlled by the state. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. And of course, the left, people like Mamdani are hugely enthusiastic about that, and his supporters. So, there's quite a bit to worry about, that we are going to suffer perhaps a death of 1,000 socialist cuts if this continues for a couple more generations. But on the other hand, there are grounds for optimism that maybe we're going, as we have in the past, that we're going to, the tide is going to change, sentiment is going to shift, and we're going to move back towards being a more sensible, conservative, free market, pro-individual liberty type of society.
Well said. All right, let me take a quick break. Check out Dr. Banta's website, the New American magazine. Sorry about that. TheNewAmerican.com is the website where he is the senior editor there. TheNewAmerican.com. We'll be right back.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. RVAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
Welcome back, and what an honor to have with us today Dr. Stephen Banta. Is the executive senior editor of the American Magazine, and that is the website, theNewAmerican.com. And there at the New American Magazine, you can read great articles. So check it out. TheNewAmerican.com is the website. Dr. Banta, one more question on some of this socialism stuff before I move over to AI quickly, and that is New York's financial base seems to be leaving town because of this. Does New York survive financially if they continue to go down this road?
Well, yes. I mean, some of the economic base is going to leave. I'm not sure the ultimate financial base is going to do that, because the ultimate financial base of New York City is the New York branch of the Federal Reserve, which is the most important of all the Federal Reserve branches. It's where number one, it's where all of the Fed's gold reserves are lodged. And number two, it is the branch of the Fed that transacts all of the absolute critical operations, open market operations, by which they buy and sell treasuries to certain financial institutions, all of which are in the New York City area. And this is a thing that they do to be able to manipulate the money supply. And this is one of the reasons, in my opinion, that New York City has been able to essentially defy economic gravity for so long. I mean, they didn't start imposing punitive taxes, regulations, and other socialist controls with the inauguration of Mamdani. They've been doing this for decades, and yet they continue to fly high. And the reason is that the center of the financial universe has been, since the creation of the Federal Reserve System, New York City. The original, the New York Fed was given special power with its original head, a guy named Benjamin Strong, who, by the way, was the fellow that invented open market operations that are used by central banks all over the world now. Anyway, so as long as that state of affairs persists, as long as New York is the place where money is literally made, okay, in the inflationary, print money sense of the term, New York is going to be able to continue to get away with stuff that would simply bankrupt other cities. I mean, obviously, Detroit has gone from being the center of automotive manufacturing and so forth to being an urban wasteland today. But automotive manufacturing is a lot different than the power to create new money at will, which resides geographically in New York City.
Very interesting. I want to switch over to AI just for a moment. Just a quick question on AI before I get into it a little deeper. How do you think AI may impact socialism, or will it?
Well, certainly most of the versions of AI that we have right now are curated by woke type people. And so they're going to be giving, they're very useful for propagandistic purposes. And everyone's used AI, which I have and do on a daily basis, realizes this. So, and that has to do with, the woke culture that permeates Silicon Valley, where all this stuff is being created. However, there are other alternatives are already coming into view because there is a demand. I suppose Grok is probably the closest right now. I think that, AI it may be that the power of AI may be a little bit overstated. There are very definite limits on what it can achieve, but it certainly is a power like the internet, the classical internet before it, and other versions of technology going all the way back to the printing press. It can be used for both good purposes and for ill. Certainly at our magazine, we've been able to exploit AI to create better graphics. It can be used to help in editing. We do not write articles with AI. We're never going to do that. There are certain things that AI will never be able to surpass human creativity in. But I think as an extension of human creativity, it has potentially very great utility. Also, though, it has great utility as a potential tool for propaganda and for molding public opinion. But a lot of that derives its potency from ignorance. I mean, people who are ignorant, who don't read about economics and politics and history and all these things are going to be ipso facto much more susceptible to propaganda in any form, be it an old-fashioned, printed broadsheet or a modern day, an AI-generated video or something like that.
All right. So on the infrastructure side of AI, as it grows into just every part of our life, every industry. Are we prepared? Can we handle this growth? I mean, we had one here in Oregon where they were looking at a data center, and there was a lot of reasons why it got put down. But one of the big reasons was we just didn't have the energy to run the stupid thing. Well,
that's true, and there are two sides to that too. And the most interesting side is that our energy sector is severely underdeveloped, thanks to decades and decades of punitive regulations that have prevented us from, bringing more nuclear plants on stream, particularly since 3 Mile Island, way back in the 1970s in Pennsylvania. The nuclear industry has essentially been at a standstill, but also at the level of the extraction of raw resources, we are continually hamstring ourselves in terms of denying ourselves access to our own oil reserves and gas reserves and all this kind of thing. Frankly, I'm still marveling that the fracking industry was able to succeed at all, given the national temperament and susceptibility of so many Americans to all of these kind of, scare tactics. Development is bad. It's just basically modern day Luddism. And a lot of the arguments that I hear warning about, the excessive energy consumption, I think that it reminds me of the arguments one heard against nuclear power back in the day. Oh, well, nuclear plants are going to, take away jobs. They're going to destroy the environment. They're going to heat up the water, use too much water, all this type of thing. And so I tend to have more trust in the power of markets. And I do think that AI, that the markets allowed to work this out will figure it out. Now, that said, the thing that's worrisome about some of these data centers is the degree to which they're being, ramrodded through by government and being funded by government in many cases, against the will of taxpayers. I mean, if local people don't want a government-funded facility or even a private facility that's going to contaminate their water or put stress on their power grid and this sort of thing, if they don't want that, they should have a say in that. There's no question about that. And, there's always been kind of this uneasy issue with things like this, because we've always seen fit in the kind of American economic tradition going all the way back to Hamilton to have a hefty involvement of government, be it local, state, or even federal, involved in the construction of infrastructure, highways, power plants, and so forth. And of course, these data centers, people arguing, well, they're going to be a critical part of our national infrastructure. If we don't get with it, China's going to pass us up and so forth. So, I mean, there's some merit to those arguments. But I think on the whole that this is going to work itself out over the next 5 to 10 years. It'll be litigated in courts, and in some areas, the people are going to simply say, no, we don't want this. In other areas, they're going to say, whatever, we'll give it a try, and things will work out.
All right, one other question before I run out of time. Do you think that one of the greatest risks of AI is the biases that it projects?
Well, this is true, but this isn't just true of AI. It's also true of other aspects of the internet, certainly. The deliberate curating of news feeds and things like this. This has been going on since the inception of the internet, and certainly with much more vigor in the last 10 or 15 years or so. So, yeah, censorship is an issue. And, for a while, it was just, tear your hair out, frustrating.
Right.
In the last decade and during COVID and everything else, where they were literally and brazenly censoring websites before AI ever came along. And so obviously that same impulse, the same people that want to do that, have only aged a few years. Yeah. They haven't changed their views. They're going to try to use AI to accomplish what they couldn't ultimately do in the classic internet, now that the likes of Facebook and obviously X and even YouTube, although YouTube still does an awful lot of censorship, but most of the social media have kind of backed off on this under political pressure. And I suspect that the same will happen ultimately with AI. But that said, of course, like any new technology, it's a two-edged sword, and it already is being deployed for malign purposes. But the same can be said of every new technology that's come along. Yeah. And generally the good has outweighed the bad.
Well, Dr. Bondo, you're fascinating. Thank you for your time. Hopefully we can stay connected. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, he is the executive senior editor at the New American Magazine, and that is the place to go. The website is thenewamerican.com. There's a picture of that landing page there on the screen. Thank you, Dr. Bondo. Let's stay connected. You're fascinating.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
The triumphs and challenges of the global church. Christian World News. Weeknights at 5:30 on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove. Encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you, and happy Friday. Almost. And we got Paulina with me today.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, and happy Friday. A lot going on in the news. There always is. And how you doing?
Good.
Happy almost Friday?
Eve.
Friday Eve, yeah.
Thursday. I love Thursdays.
Yeah, Friday Eve.
You can smell the weekend.
Yeah, it smells good. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. Wow. And we'll get to that. Some interesting day yesterday at the Senate. A little bit of a shootout at the OK Corral.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and then today is also 6 months from Christmas. So Christmas is in 6 months. So if you're one of those people who are counting down to that, you can begin today. June 25th is actually called National Leon Day. And I didn't know what that means. Did you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I don't feel that bad then. Although I do like to learn things. And Leon spells backwards Noel. Yeah. And so the day has become an unofficial milestone for holiday crafters who begin to prepare for Christmas. So if you want to me, it's kind of a sad day because now we're going downhill from longer days, shorter nights. And I love summer. I love light.
Well, we had a story yesterday that the Oregon climatologists came out with a report that we're heading into a super El Nino, which means sometime around August it starts to take effect. And we've only seen 3 of these since 1980, which they're predicting will be heavy rain and snow this winter.
Wow.
Okay, so right now we're in a La Nina that's underperforming its normal pattern, which we should have had more rain and spring showers and all that. So because the La Nina is underperforming, and with all that's going on around the equator and all that stuff, it's producing the conditions for a super El Nino starting in August.
And that's good, right, for water levels?
Well, we need it. Yeah, we need it. We need water and snowpack, and we need to fill the rivers and the lakes back up and all that. But look like this could be what they call a super one, which, like I said, we've only seen 3 since 1980. So we'll see.
But when you have a super one, is it just really heavy winter, or you actually from August on we're going to see more rain? Cold weather.
I don't know that. I think what happens is, from what I understand, is that the conditions to produce the super El Nino starts in August and develops the weather patterns for the winter, for the fall and the winter. So we'll see. But right now we're high and dry. It's very dry. In fact, a lot of counties have been declared a drought emergency by the governor. And so far, thank the good Lord, no major fires. We've had a few little ones, but no major fires. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get through this season.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let's see what else I want to... National Strawberry, how do you say that? Parfait?
Parfait.
Parfait Day. National Strawberry Parfait Day celebrates one of summer's sweetest treats during peak strawberry season. The word parfait is French for perfect. I didn't know that. And the traditional dessert features layers of ice cream or frozen custard, fruit, and whipped cream, served in a tall glass.
Okay, so that one has granola mixed in with it.
Yes, and actually that is one of the things you can do. Yogurt, granola, fresh strawberries, they have all become favorite, not just alternatives, but additions. Just pile it all up and enjoy. It looks good, right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Especially here, we have so many wonderful farms that produce fresh strawberries.
Big ones too.
Yeah. And then let's end it with a handshake. Today is the National Handshake Day. It's last Thursday in June and celebrates one of the oldest forms of greetings and mutual respect. Historians believe handshakes date back to ancient Greece, where artwork from the 5th century BC depicts people greeting one another by clasping hands and shaking them.
Okay.
I love that tradition. Hello. People say I have a good handshake.
You do.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I will say a thing, though. Men need to learn how to shake hands.
Oh, so you don't get a little wobbly thing?
Oh, it's like, you know, squeezing a dish rag. Come on, good.
But I love that. I don't know what about it when guys get together and they shake hands versus doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, good. Well, good stuff. All right, you see those clouds over our shoulders there?
Yes.
More of them coming this way. Let's check out the weather.
Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 70s through Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville, with lows tonight falling back into the 50s. Through the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy conditions continue through the valleys. Salem tops out near 78. Albany and Corvallis both settle into the upper 70s, and Eugene sees 79 with a calm west wind. Increasing clouds in central Oregon, with Prineville reaching the low 80s. Mostly cloudy in Bend and Sun River, while Boise stays warmer with a slight chance of thunderstorms than sunny skies near 92. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog gives way to mostly cloudy skies in Coos Bay and Brookings, with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Port Orford sees 63 and Crescent City 62, with cloud covers throughout the day. In southern Oregon, partly sunny skies for the Rogue Valley, with Grants Pass and Medford approaching 90 degrees. Ashland tops out near 84, and increasing clouds develop in Klamath Falls, with highs in the low 80s. Northern California heats up with mostly sunny skies. Wairika reaches 88, while Redding climbs to 96 and Chico 93. Fort Bragg sees mostly sunny skies and highs near 60. Around the Bay Area, patchy fog clears to sunshine in Santa Rosa and Napa, with highs near 80. Decreasing clouds in 63 in San Francisco, while San Jose stays sunny with highs near 80. For Central California, sunny conditions continue with highs near 89 in Sacramento, Stockton and Modesto. Fresno and Visalia reach 97 and Bakersfield near 98, with lows tonight mainly in the 60s. And that's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op. Here's a look at Thursday's weather from Grange.
Okay, there we go. There's a look of our backyard this morning, and you can see the clouds kind of coming our way. That brings that change in the weather and cooler temperatures.